You're the one who is having a child with your first love, so why are you crying over the divorce? Honey, cheers. At 7 p.m., the candlelight flickered. Feng raised his glass, celebrating his third wedding anniversary with his wife, Nanzhi. However, Nanzhi didn't raise her glass. She leaned on her chopsticks, looking absent-minded, hesitated for a few seconds, and finally spoke. Feng, I need to tell you something. Qin Baishan returned from abroad 3 months ago. He has something growing in his brain, and the doctors say he only has 6 months left. Baishan is the only child in his family, and he wants to leave an heir for the Qin family. I want to help him fulfill that wish and have a test tube baby for him. Nanzhi's words were like a bolt of lightning, striking Feng hard. He stared in shock, his pupils wide with disbelief. In the 3 years of marriage, Feng had repeatedly asked Nanzhi for a child. But she always used her career as an excuse to decline, saying she feared the pain of childbirth, worried that she would get old after having a child. Feng loved her and sympathized with her struggles, always accommodating her. But now, Feng could never have imagined that just because Qin Baishan wanted to leave an heir for the Qin family, Nanzhi would readily agree to have a child. Nanzhi, I don't agree to you having a test tube baby for Qin Baishan. We're legally married. How can you have a test tube baby for another man? What do you take me for? Feng said with righteous indignation. Nanzhi frowned, looking angry. Feng, can you be more magnanimous? Stop being so petty like a woman. I'm petty? You're about to cheat, and I'm wrong for not agreeing to it. Feng was furious. His legitimate wife wanted to have a child for another man, and as a husband, he disagreed, and somehow he was the petty one. Is this something a normal wife would say? Nanzhi, however, spoke firmly, I'm not cheating. It's just a test tube baby. There will be no direct physical relationship with Baishan. Baishan is dying, he's so pitiful, how can you have no sympathy? Feng's heart twisted in pain as he clutched his chest. He's about to put a green hat on me, and you want me to feel sorry for him. Can you think for a second? What if Qin Baishan is lying to you? He could be pretending to be sick. Nanzhi interrupted angrily, what nonsense are you talking? How could Baishan lie about his life? I've known him since we were kids, and with his character, he would never do such a ridiculous thing. Nanzhi's tone was firm. Before Feng could speak, she scolded him in frustration, you're the worst. Baishan is dying, and you're saying he's pretending to be sick. I really regret marrying you. You're so narrow-minded, a complete coward. Feng was shaking with anger. At that moment, he realized. Nanzhi had never left a place for him in her heart, not even a little bit. Her heart only had Qin Baishan in it, and whatever he did, it was always right. Nanzhi wouldn't allow anyone to say anything bad about Qin Baishan. Nanzhi, I'll say it one last time, there's something wrong with Qin Baishan's sudden illness. If you want to have a child for him, I'll never agree, even if you kill me. Feng shouted angrily. But then, Nanzhi pulled out a paper from her pocket and slapped it on the table. You have to agree, because I'm already pregnant. I just got the test results this afternoon. I'm officially telling you, soon I'll go abroad to have Baishan's child. You'll be responsible for the company and everything at home. Feng, overwhelmed, collapsed off his chair. Nanzhi had secretly gotten pregnant with Qin Baishan's child without telling him, her legitimate husband. She not only acted without his consent but had already arranged everything. Wasn't she afraid of the pain of childbirth? Wasn't she busy with her career? Wasn't she worried about getting old after having a child? Why is she not afraid of anything now? Feng sighed bitterly. It turns out the woman he loved for 3 years feared nothing for her white moonlight. He was just a complete fool. Feng's body trembled with rage as he collapsed on the floor, pointing at Nanzhi, yelling in fury, you. Endless anger burned his chest and throat, and Feng couldn't even shout a complete sentence. Nanzhi was about to speak when her phone on the table rang. The screen showed the name, Baishan. Without hesitation, Nanzhi picked it up. Nanzhi, I'm so sorry to disturb your wedding anniversary with Feng. I'm calling to say goodbye. I've made up my mind. Instead of waiting to die in the hospital, I'd rather end the pain early. Qin Baishan's weak voice made Nanzhi's face turn pale. Baishan, don't do anything stupid. Stay in the hospital, don't run around, I'll be there soon. I have good news for you, you're going to be a father. While on the phone, Nanzhi hurriedly grabbed some clothes and slipped on slippers, rushing out in panic. Feng stood up, grabbing the edge of the table, and blocked her, his eyes red. "Wait a second, sign the agreement, and I'll let you go." "What agreement?" "Get out of my way, Beishan wants to commit suicide, I need to save him." Nanzhi waved her fists angrily, hitting Feng in the chest. She was so anxious, she didn't even hear what Feng said. "Sign the divorce agreement, and you can be with Qin Beishan for as long as you want." Feng reiterated, his voice calm but firm. "What? Divorce agreement? You want to divorce me?" Nanzhi finally heard it clearly. "Yes, I want to divorce you. I'm done." Feng said each word slowly, his expression calm but his tone resolute. His dignity as a man had been completely trampled by his legally married wife. Such a woman, Feng didn't want to tolerate anymore. "Hey, after 3 years of marriage, all you do is cook and clean. Without the Su family, you wouldn't even find a decent job. Where do you get the courage to divorce me?" Nanzhi sneered coldly, as if she had heard the greatest joke. "Well, that's better than being a coward wearing a hat. I have hands and feet, I don't need your concern." Feng's face showed determination. "Don't talk nonsense. I haven't cheated on you, don't throw dirt on me. I don't have time to talk about the divorce now. I'll talk to you after I save Beishan." Nanzhi said and ran out of the house. The loud sound of the door closing knocked a keychain off the door. It was like Feng's heart, shattered into pieces. "Nanzhi, you will regret this." Feng shouted these words in a calm voice. Actually, Nanzhi had no idea that Feng was not the soft man she thought he was. Chapter 2, Jinshu Mingzhu is the name of your future 2 children. Feng has a distinguished background that others are unaware of. The wealth he desires is within easy reach. His father is a business magnate, the president of the Hongya Chamber of Commerce, one of the most influential figures in the Dragon Kingdom. When Feng was very young, his family arranged his marriage. He never liked this marriage that was filled with family interests. 3 years ago, to marry Nanzhi, Feng severed ties with his family completely. Although his father was furious, to change his son's mind, he privately made an agreement with him. The agreement stipulated that Feng and Nanzhi must have 2 children within 3 years. If Feng succeeded, not only would his father not hold it against him, but he would also give a monumental gift to the children and the Su family. However, if Feng failed, he would have to obediently return home and follow his parents' arrangements. But now, Nanzhi is pregnant with Qin Beishan's child. She doesn't even think she has done anything wrong. Feng's heart is utterly broken. This marriage is over for him. With his decision made, Feng stood up and went to his study, opened his computer, and began drafting the divorce agreement. By the time he cleaned up the dining table and the house and placed the signed agreement on the table, it was already past 11 o'clock at night. Feng didn't take any luggage, and as he was about to leave this place of sorrow, a phone call came in. The screen displayed, Yi Baichuan. "This is Feng's father." There was less than an hour until midnight. Feng knew the purpose of his father's call. Today marked the 3rd wedding anniversary of him and Nanzhi. The agreement he made with his father 3 years ago started on their wedding day. "Dad, I'm sorry, I lost." Feng answered the call, and before his father could speak, he shouted, "Dad," and suddenly burst into tears. For 3 years of marriage, he had been insulted by the Su family as an ineffective, soft man, and Feng had never even raised his voice. He loved Nanzhi and was willing to be a house husband, enduring cold stares and ridicule. As long as Nanzhi was happy, Feng would work hard without complaint. But this endurance had led to the outcome of tonight. The emotions Feng had suppressed for so long finally broke loose in front of his family. Although there was no voice on the other end of the phone, the heavy breathing was enough to prove that Yi Baichuan, the business patriarch, was moved. He knew his precious son had suffered outside. Feng's emotions were vented, and his cries gradually softened. Yi Baichuan then spoke. "Xiao Feng, your tears are worthless to me. I won't sympathize with you, this is the path you chose. Dry your tears and listen carefully, I won't accept your apology, but I can give you a chance to make up for your mistakes." Feng was taken aback and asked, "How can I make up for it?" Yi Baichuan continued. "Since you married Nanzhi, even though I haven't contacted you, I know how the Su family has treated you. Originally, I didn't want to help you, but your mother has a soft heart and kept begging me. So I secretly helped with Su family's business, though I lost a lot of money doing it. You loved the wrong woman, and after 3 years, you've seen her true face. I've also seen the Su family's true nature. The Su family must pay the price for this, and you must take back everything you've lost. The Jinsi Mingzhu Commercial Street project in Jiangbei City was launched a month ago. It's an investment from your father. Originally, I was going to give it to your 2 children and the Su family, but now it's yours. I'll give you 2 more years. You must use Jinsi Mingzhu to prove yourself. If you are a hopeless case, then your mother and I will start over with another plan. Feng was stunned by his father's words. He never expected that the Jinsi Mingzhu Commercial Street in Jiangbei was his father's project. This is a landmark commercial building in Jiangbei, costing over 10 billion. Countless businessmen are eager to get a piece of the pie, including the Su family's company. Dad, don't worry, this time I won't lose. Coming to his senses, Feng spoke firmly. Good. I'll arrange for the project manager to contact you immediately. Xiao Feng, remember, Jinsi Mingzhu is not just a commercial street, it is also the name your father has chosen for your future 2 children. Go ahead and fight for them. Yi Baichuan encouraged, then hung up the phone. Feng put away his phone, full of energy, and walked out the door. At the moment the door closed, his heart, which had loved Su Nanzhi for 3 years, was completely shut off. At the same time, he couldn't help but sigh, Su Nanzhi, oh Su Nanzhi, if you hadn't caused trouble, Jinsi Mingzhu, the brightest jewel in Jiangbei City, should have belonged to our family of 4. Leaving the neighborhood, Feng was about to take a taxi to find a place to have a few drinks and celebrate the beginning of his new life. His phone rang again. The screen displayed an unknown number. Feng thought it was someone his father arranged to contact him, so he answered the call. Yi, hurry up and come to Wanlong Resort, I forgot to bring enough money, and they've detained me. However, the voice on the phone was none other than his brother-in-law, Su Yuhai, Su Nanzhi's brother. This prodigal son was always indulging in drinking and women, and every time he got into trouble, Feng was the one who had to clean up after him. When Su Yuhai got drunk, Feng would serve him as if he were a servant, even putting him to bed. When Su Yuhai got beaten up, Feng would be his punching bag. The worst time, Feng had broken 5 ribs and stayed in the hospital for an entire month. This time, Feng directly refused, go ask your sister. From today on, I won't do anything for you anymore. Su Yuhai on the other end was stunned for a few seconds, then suddenly burst into anger. Feng, what nonsense are you talking? I'm your brother-in-law. You eat my Su family's food, and now you can't even help me with a little thing. My sister's in the hospital and can't come, so she asked me to call you. I'm giving you half an hour. Hurry up and bring the money over. Without waiting for a response, Su Yuhai hung up. Feng sneered and immediately blocked the number. Even if Su Yuhai was beaten to death tonight, Feng wouldn't bother to save him. Beep tilde tilde. At that moment, a convoy suddenly appeared in the distance. On the quiet street in the dead of night, 10 luxury cars were incredibly eye-catching. The leading black G-Wagon quickly stopped, and a bald man dressed in a trench coat stepped out. He first checked his phone, then looked around as if searching for something. When his sharp gaze landed on Feng, he quickly walked over. With a sweeping stride, he approached Feng and bowed deeply. I'm Lu Wanlong, greetings, young Master Yi. Meanwhile, the remaining 9 luxury cars, with dozens of black-clad, burly men, all bowed and greeted in unison. Greetings, young Master Yi. The powerful voices echoed through the quiet night, shaking the air. Chapter 3 Sorry, the number you dialed is busy. Are you Lu Wanlong, the leader of the Wanlong Society? A strange look flashed in Feng's eyes. Lu Wanlong and Jiang Beicheng are the feared underground gang leaders. Not only does he have thousands of henchmen, the Wanlong group named after him is also well known. Its industries including Wanlong Resort Villa, Wanlong Real Estate, Wanlong Chamber of Commerce and others have become leading enterprises in Jiangbei City. There are even rumors that half of the people in Jiangbei have the surname Lu. Of course, Lu Wanlong's industries are just a drop in the bucket compared to Feng's family. Master Feng, you are joking. I dare not call myself the boss in front of you. You can just call me Xiaolu. Lu Wanlong nodded and bowed as he spoke, then turned around and respectfully invited Feng to get in the car. Only then did Yi Feng realize that the person in charge of the Jinqiu Mingzhu project mentioned by his father on the phone was Lu Wanlong. Master Lu, it seems that we didn't have any interactions before. How did you recognize me just now? After getting in the car, Yi Feng asked puzzledly. The sound of Master Lu frightened Lu Wanlong so much that he almost fell to his knees. He quickly wiped the sweat off his forehead and said, "No, Master. Just call me Little Lu. Young Master Yi, you may not know that the president has already sent me your photo. I was able to find you outside the community just now because I located your mobile phone number." Yi Feng nodded and said nothing more. After the car drove for a distance, he looked outside and gave Lu Wanlong a simple instruction. "Xiaolu, I'll come to you tomorrow to coordinate the Jinqiu Mingzhu commercial street project. You can just drop me off at a drinking place in front." Lu Wanlong felt heartbroken. "Master Yi, the food in those small restaurants is not suitable for your precious body. What if you get an upset stomach? I have already arranged it. Please give me a chance." Lu Wanlong requested respectfully, with great pleading in his tone. "Okay." Yi Feng agreed. She had worked like a slave in the Su family for so many years, serving Su Nanzhi and her family like a nanny. Now that Yi Feng has left the Su family, it's time for him to enjoy the wonderful life as a young master. Only when Lu Wanlong's driver drove the car to the destination, Yi Feng didn't expect that the place arranged by Lu Wanlong was actually the Wanlong Resort Villa mentioned by his brother-in-law Su Yuhao on the phone. This holiday villa is extremely famous in Jiangbei City, and only celebrities and dignitaries dare to spend money here. Last year, when Su Nanji's mother celebrated her birthday, Yi Feng came here with her. The place was full of upper-class people invited by the Su family, and Yi Feng was reduced to sitting at the same table with the children. At that time, Yi Feng went to toast his mother-in-law and was ridiculed by the guests of the Su family. Now, Lu Wanlong, the big boss of Wanlong Resort Villa, personally picked Yi Feng up for dinner. So when getting off the car, Yi Feng couldn't help but think, if Su Nanji and the Su family saw this scene, their expressions would definitely be very interesting. Especially that playboy Su Yuhao, who was detained here because he didn't bring enough money. What was his surprised reaction? The Bitteroxuan private room in Wanlong Resort. After Su Yuhao finished calling Yi Feng, he told the waiter very confidently that someone would come soon to settle the bill for him. Not only that, he also exchanged a group of drinking girls with a few of his friends. Wanlong Resort Villa is not only a place for sightseeing, entertainment and hot spring soaking, but also has entertainment facilities that are even more advanced than those in nightclubs. The quality of the girls here is the benchmark for the entire Jiangbei City nightlife. All of them are domestic models. Su Yuhao hugged two Cheongsam models and sang and danced. He was so happy. But half an hour passed and Yi Feng still didn't show up. Su Yuhao was not worried about this. He just felt that the holiday villa was a bit far from where Yi Feng and his sister lived, and it would take some time for Yi Feng to get there. But at this moment, a middle-aged man wearing gold-rimmed glasses pushed the door and walked in. This person is Lu Wanlong's trusted subordinate and also the director of the entertainment department of the resort. His name is Feng. Behind him were two burly men in black, with bulging muscles and tall, powerful bodies. They looked like professional thugs. "Stop the music." Fei stopped the dance music and waved his hand to let several Cheongsam models leave. "Master Su, the bill for this private room has exceeded 100,000. When will the money be delivered?" Fei sat opposite Su Yuhao with a cigarette in his mouth and asked with a smile. "Why are you in such a hurry?" "I just told the waiter that my brother-in-law will send the money over soon. Even if there is a knife attack outside tonight, my brother-in-law will rush over regardless of the danger," Su Yuhao said pretentiously while crossing his legs. In his eyes, Yi Feng is just a dog raised by the Su family, who is hardworking and extremely obedient. Su Yuhao's words are like an imperial decree to Yi Feng. "Call your brother-in-law. I need to confirm with him. Otherwise, all of you should get out and wait." Fei raised his hand to signal. "TSK, it's no big deal. Today I'll let you see what it means for a brother-in-law to scold his brother-in-law." Su Yuhao boasted for a while, then grabbed the phone on the table and made a call. There were 2 cards installed in his mobile phone. He was a little drunk before, so he used the secondary card when calling Yi Feng. "This time I called, it was still the secondary card number." In order to show off in front of his friends and Fei, Su Yuhao turned on the speakerphone. Unexpectedly, the sound coming from inside made him confused and embarrassed. Sorry, the number you dialed is busy. Su Yuhao didn't give up and tried again, but the same thing happened. Haozi, you must have been blocked by your brother-in-law. A friend reminded Su Yuhao. Impossible, even if I give him 10 times the courage, he wouldn't dare to block my number. Su Yuhao didn't believe that Feng dared to do this. He glanced at the secondary card displayed on the dialing interface, seemed to understand something, and quickly switched to the main card and called Feng again. I just used the secondary card, this time I changed to the primary card. However, before Su Yuhao could finish his words, the busy call prompt sound rang again. Fuck, you are messing with me here. Beat me up. Shenfei waved his hand, and the 2 black-clad thugs behind him started punching and kicking him. Su Yuhao was beaten and screamed in pain, and his 3 friends who played with him also suffered. In a place like Wanlong Resort Villa, they didn't even have the courage to fight back. Brother, stop hitting me. I really didn't lie to you. My brother-in-law usually listens to me and does what I say. He would never dare to block my number. He must be talking to someone else. Su Yuhao knelt on the ground and begged Chen Fei, give me some time, I promise to let my brother-in-law Feng send the money over. Chen Fei interrupted impatiently, I don't care who you ask to give the money. If you don't see the money within half an hour, I will take the parts from you and use them to pay off the debt. Chapter 4, their first move is a king bomb, this is too cruel. Haozi, what's going on with your brother-in-law? Isn't he always obedient to you? This is Wanlong Resort, Master Lu's place. Half of Jiangbei City belongs to him. How dare they take parts from us? Haozi, if all else fails, call your sister and tell her the truth. She will definitely not stand by and watch you die. Su Yuhao's 3 cronies were so frightened that they sobered up and acted as terrified as sheep. The 3 of them have always regarded Su Yuhao as their big brother. Plus, this kid loves to show off, so he usually pays for their outings. Su Yuhao also wanted to ask his sister for money, but if his sister Su Nanzhi knew that the money was spent on the internal models, she would definitely beat him half to death. That's why Su Yuhao found Feng and lied to Feng that it was his sister who asked him to come and pay the bill. As long as Feng came, he would let him stay to pay off the debt, and Su Yuhao would just pat his butt and leave. As for what happened to Feng, Su Yuhao didn't care whether he lived or died. But now, he couldn't get through to Feng on the phone, and Su Yuhao was really panicked. Give me all 3 of your phones. I'll continue calling that bastard named Yi. Su Yuhao asked for the cell phones of his 3 younger brothers and called Feng's number. Hey, Feng, I'm Su Yuhao, where the hell are you? Come over here and pay the bill. Fortunately, the call went through on the first phone. Don't look for me again. However, Feng only said 5 words before hanging up the phone. Su Yuhao called again using this phone. On the phone. Obviously blocked. Su Yuhao changed to his friend's second mobile phone. This time, Feng turned off the phone directly. Fuck, damn Feng, did he take the wrong medicine tonight? Su Yuhao screamed in anger. Bang! Chen Fei on the opposite side slapped Su Yuhao directly, hitting him so hard that his brain was shaking. 25 minutes left, hurry up. Chen Fei's light voice sounded like the king of hell demanding his life, and frightened Su Yuhao and the other 3 so much that they hugged each other. Squeak tilde tilde. At this time, the door of the private room opened. A waiter came in and whispered something in Shenfei's ear. Shenfei stood up with a surprised look on his face. Because their waiter said that Master Lu brought a guest to eat at Jiaxing Tower, and asked Shenfei to go over and toast him with a glass of wine. Others don't know that Jiaxing Tower is Lu Wanlong's private activity room in the holiday villa. Since its completion, the number of distinguished guests invited in by Mr. Lu has not exceeded 1 hand. Chen Fei did not dare to delay, and told his men to keep an eye on Su Yuhao and the others, and quickly ran towards the Jiaxing Tower. That end. Inside the private room on the top floor of Jiaxing building. Their heads of various industries under Lu Wanlong were toasting Feng, the most distinguished guest tonight, one by one. Any one of them could make Jiangbei City tremble. Shenfei trotted all their way and soon entered the private room. Lu Wanlong introduced him, Xiao Fei, this is Master Feng, the son of the president of the Red Leaf Chamber of Commerce. Go and toast to Master Yi. Feng. Shenfei was stunned for a moment. Because just now in the private room of Bitteroxuan, the person that Su Yuhao called to deliver the money seemed to be called Feng. He walked up to Yifeng with a wine glass in hand, bowed his body to toast him, and asked cautiously, "Young Master Yi, do you know Su Yuhao from the Su family?" Yifeng nodded. "He is my brother-in-law." Shenfei was so scared that he almost knelt on the spot, and quickly apologized. "I'm sorry, Mr. Yi, I don't know the relationship between Su Yuhao and you. He spent more than 100,000 yuan in the Baidaoxian private room, and because he had no money to pay the bill, I beat him up." The room suddenly became quiet, and all the horrified eyes were directed at Shenfei. Especially Lu Wanlong, he jumped up in fright. He went up and gave Shenfei a big bag, pointed at him and shouted angrily, "You bastard, how can you hit Mr. Yi's brother-in-law? Go and invite him over to apologize." Yes, I'll go right away." Shenfei agreed with a look of panic. Everyone present knew why Mr. Lu was angry. Wanlong Group's current achievements are all due to the Hongye Chamber of Commerce. Yifeng, the young master of a wealthy family, must not be offended. Shenfei was about to invite Su Yuhao, but Yifeng stopped him, waved his hand and said, "No need, my relationship with Su Yuhao's sister is over, and he is not my brother-in-law now." Upon hearing this, Shenfei stopped and breathed a sigh of relief. He almost got into a huge disaster. The big guys present finally relaxed. One by one, they came forward to toast again and persuaded Yifeng not to be sad, saying that the children of the Su family, a second-rate family, were not worthy of Yifeng's love at all. Several big guys even quarreled over introducing a girlfriend to Yifeng, all of them trying to take the opportunity to recruit him as their son-in-law. After Lu Wanlong toasted, he made an excuse to go to the bathroom and immediately called his daughter. It was not until this moment that Lu Wanlong understood why Yifeng insisted on getting drunk tonight. It turns out there was a problem with the relationship. All of his subordinates knew that they should take the opportunity to win over Yifeng. How could Lu Wanlong not be tempted? His daughter Lu Caiwei is about the same age as Yifeng, and is also the original person in charge of the Jinshu Mingzhu Commercial Street project. And Yifeng just happened to be taking over this project. It was really the case that the one who is close to the water gets the moon first. Lu Wanlong was so happy that he was almost going crazy. He gave his daughter a strict order: let Lu Caiwei dress herself up beautifully and get to the holiday villa as quickly as possible, and she must capture Yifeng tonight. After Lu Wanlong finished the call, he returned to the private room and prepared to secretly instruct his men to bring out all the alcohol. Because as long as Yifeng gets drunk, Lu Caiwei will be halfway successful. Unexpectedly, Lu Wanlong was stunned by the scene in front of him. In the corridor, in front of the sink, in the hallway, more than a dozen of his trusted subordinates were anxiously making phone calls. The content is surprisingly consistent: those who have daughters call their daughters over, and those who don't have daughters look for their cousins or sisters-in-law. There is no doubt that they think the same as Lu Wanlong. Tonight is a gathering of beauties, and each of them shows off their magical powers. "Fuck you guys, you really are all my men, you are so rude." Lu Wanlong was amused. Okay, that's how you play it, huh? I'll let you guys call anyone. When my daughter arrives, all the rouge and powder you found will be dregs. No way, boss, you're going to send the young lady to conquer Master Yi. The eldest lady is the most beautiful of the four city beauties in Jiangbei City. You are not giving us any chance to survive. The first move was a king bomb. This is too cruel. The younger brothers were filled with complaints. Shenfei also walked out of the private room at this time. He had just asked Yifeng for advice on how to deal with Su Yuhao. Yifeng only said one thing: whether Su Yuhao is dead or alive has nothing to do with him. Shenfei was not stupid, so he could naturally see Yifeng's dissatisfaction with his former brother-in-law. So he went back to deal with Su Yuhao, and he prepared a lot of programs. Chapter 5: Squandering 128,000 in one night. 6 o'clock in the morning. Su Nanzhi returned home exhausted. Last night she went to the hospital to persuade Qin Beishan, and it took her several hours to get him to give up the idea of committing suicide. Su Nanzhi wanted to go home and sleep in the late night, but Qin Beishan wouldn't let her go. She cried and made a fuss in the ward like a 3-year-old baby. Su Nanzhi was worried, so she sang nursery rhymes and pretended to be a mother to coax her big boy Qin Beishan to sleep. She stayed in the accompanying bed for the whole night. Su Nanzhi was used to sleeping in the big bed at home, so she felt sore in her back and waist. When she got home, she called Yifeng to come over and give her a massage. After 3 years of marriage, Su Nanzhi has become accustomed to Yifeng's meticulous care. Yifeng is responsible for cleaning the house, cooking, washing feet, giving massages, coaxing her to sleep, picking her up and dropping her off, etc. Feng takes care of Nanzhi like a full-time dad. Feng, are you deaf? Come over here and give me a massage. Nanzhi lay lazily on the sofa, calling out to Feng loudly. However, Nanzhi shouted several times, but all the rooms were as quiet as a cemetery and there was no response. Damn Feng, it's already past 6 o'clock and you still haven't gotten up. As a house husband who doesn't earn a penny, what right do you have to sleep in? Nanzhi got up from the sofa cursing and rushed into Feng's bedroom angrily. She thought Feng hadn't gotten up yet, or he was sulking and staying in bed on purpose. However, the bedding in the bedroom was neatly folded and the bed was empty. Nanzhi looked confused and went to other rooms to look around, but still couldn't find Feng. It was not until she saw the divorce agreement on the coffee table in the living room that Nanzhi suddenly came to her senses. Feng probably didn't go home last night. He ran away from home. Are you sick? I just helped Qin Beishan to have a test tube baby. Is it necessary to be so angry? This is outrageous. You didn't even call me, your wife, to report your absence. Do you, a gigolo, want to rebel? Nanzhi was furious. She took out her cell phone and called Feng. She must teach this guy a lesson. But after calling several times, Feng's phone was still turned off. Humph, you want to hide from me, huh? If you dare, never come home. Nanzhi angrily threw her phone on the sofa and prepared to take a shower and have a good sleep. As for the divorce agreement, Nanzhi didn't take it seriously at all. Based on his understanding of Feng, he would definitely surrender in the end. But at this moment, the phone on the sofa suddenly rang. Now that you know to fight back and admit your mistake, what were you doing before? If you don't call me for an hour straight, don't even think about getting me to answer your call. Nanzhi ignored him, took some clean clothes and went into the bathroom to take a shower. She thought the call was from Feng, so she just left him alone. After Nanzhi finished taking a comfortable bath, the phone on the sofa was still ringing. Feeling that Feng had been left alone for the time being, Nanzhi picked up the phone and pressed the answer button. Sister, why don't you answer the phone? I've been calling you for almost an hour, woo-woo. Unexpectedly, the call was not from Feng, but from his younger brother Suyuhao. Xiaohao, is it really you who has been calling me? Nanzhi asked in disbelief. Yes, sister. My hands are numb from typing, and my phone only has 10% battery left. Help me, sister, come and save me, I'm going crazy. Suyuhao shouted for help. What happened? Nanzhi asked in panic. It's all that damn Feng's fault. I went out to eat with my friends last night and didn't bring enough money, so I asked him to come over and pay the bill for me, but he stood me up. Sister, you don't know, my night was like hell. I washed 3,000 dishes, 2,000 bowls, and served 2 old women in their 50s. They said I have to work here for a full month to pay off the debt. I don't want to do that. I've had enough. If you don't come and save me, I'll be tortured to death. Suyuhao cried like a dog on the phone. His body was covered with scratches from the steel wool and Kuan was almost broken. For Suyuhao, this night was like experiencing a miserable life in a hellish cave on earth. He hated Feng to death, but he didn't dare to complain about the people in Wanlong Resort Villa. Xiaohao, don't cry first. Tell me, how much money do you owe them? Nanzhi asked. 128,008. How many? Nanzhi almost dropped her phone and asked, what on earth did you do? You spent hundreds of thousands on a meal. I didn't do anything. The food here is a bit expensive. I ate at Wanlong Resort Villa. There were many hidden expenses that I didn't notice. Sister, please give me money quickly, otherwise you really won't be able to see me anymore. I am the only male in our family. If I die, the Su family will have no descendants. Woo-woo. Suyuhao didn't dare tell his sister that he and his friend had found a domestic model, and could only cry. Suyuhao, you're such a spendthrift, you must be out picking up girls again. Do you think I'm a fool? Don't you know what Wanlong Resort is? You squandered 128,000 in one night. Do you think our family's money was blown by the wind? You might as well die out there. Nanzhi roared in anger. She really wanted to give up. Sister, I was wrong, I really know I was wrong. I will never dare to do it again. Please transfer the money to me. I'm kneeling down for you. There really was a sound of someone kneeling down from the other end of the phone, which broke Nanzhi's heart. She only has this one brother, and even though he is naughty, she can't bear to see him get into trouble. You can do whatever you want, I'll beat you to death when you get home. I'm transferring money to you now. This is the last time. You are not allowed to go out for 3 months after you come back. Nanzhi said this angrily, hung up the phone, logged into mobile banking and transferred the money to Su Yuhao. Her heart bleeds as she spends this money. She also thought about calling the police. After all, there was suspicion of illegal imprisonment at Wanlong Resort. But thinking of the Wanlong group behind the holiday villa, Nanzhi could only swallow her anger. Her Su family can't afford to offend this black crocodile in Jiangbei City. You are so good, Feng. You dare to ignore my own brother. Do you still have me and the Su family in your eyes? After Nanzhi was angry with her brother, she took out her anger on Feng. She didn't believe that the calls just now were all from her brother, so she carefully looked through the call records. However, from last night till now, there were no missed calls from Feng on Nanzhi's phone. Nanzhi's eyes fell on the divorce agreement on the coffee table again, and she finally realized something was wrong. Feng is serious this time. Ding tilde tilde. Just then, a voice message came to Nanzhi's WeChat. It was sent by her best friend Jiang Ranran. As Nanzhi just clicked on the voice message, 3 photos suddenly popped up on the chat page. A voice message sounded, Nanzhi, look, your useless husband Feng went to Wanlong Resort to look for an internal model without your knowledge last night. Chapter 6 You have to get home before dark. Nanzhi was so angry that her hands were shaking. When she clicked on the picture, her brain exploded. Jiang Ranran went to Wanlong Resort with her friends to take a hot spring bath last night. She accidentally saw Feng there and decisively took a secret photo of him. In the photo, Feng is supported by a sexy long-legged beauty, and the two behave very intimately. Although Jiang Ranran didn't take a clear picture of Feng's face, Nanzhi recognized the clothes he was wearing. In the 3 years since he got married, Feng has lived a very frugal life and only has a few sets of clothes. Nanzhi, a place like Wanlong Resort Villa is not something that a loser like Feng can afford. He must have hidden some private money behind your back. This gigolo is really a piece of shit. You should divorce him right away. Jiang Ranran sent another voice message. Nanzhi sent an emoji of a kitchen knife chopping koan to her bestie, then opened Feng's WeChat and frantically sent voice messages. It is worth mentioning that Feng's WeChat avatar is a headshot of him and Nanzhi on their marriage certificate. Feng, you shameless bastard, how dare you betray our marriage? I curse you to have abscesses all over your body. You damn bastard, why don't you die on the lady? I'm going to cut you into pieces. You have tarnished our relationship, you scumbag. You stinky piece of shit. Don't ever come back. Nanzhi started yelling and cursing. Such yelling and cursing is so ironic and hypocritical. The photo that Jiang Ranran took was just of Feng being supported by a beautiful woman. If we really want to talk about cheating, Nanzhi is already pregnant with Qin Baishan's child, but she has the nerve to say that Feng betrayed their marriage and tarnished their relationship. Nanzhi cursed for a while, and suddenly thought of her brother's tragic experience in Wanlong Resort Villa, so she continued to yell and curse at the phone. You are so good, Feng. You clearly went to Wanlong Resort Villa, where my brother was detained. He is your brother-in-law, why didn't you go to save him? I finally understand now. You must have had a share of my brother's 128,000 yuan bill. You used my money to eat, drink and play with models. Why don't you just die? We had a quarrel and you took it out on my family. How could there be a bastard like you in this world? You are a complete villain. I order you to go home immediately. I will take back from you tenfold the torture Xiaohao has endured. Nanzhi spoke eloquently and angrily, and the phone was covered with saliva. She felt that her guess was correct. Feng doesn't have much pocket money, so how could he dare to order an in-house model at Wanlong Resort Villa? He must have added the consumption bill to Su Yuhao's. From the beginning, he ignored Su Yuhao, and finally turned off his cell phone. Everything was planned. This grandson did it on purpose. Nanzhi's mouth was dry from cursing. She drank half a glass of water and wanted to continue speaking to Feng. At this time, her father sent a voice message. My daughter, today is the first anniversary of your grandfather's death. Our whole family is going to visit your grandfather's grave. Your mother and I have already arrived at your grandmother's place. Please come quickly. Okay, Dad, I got it. Nanzhi replied. Then, he opened Feng's WeChat again with resentment and issued an ultimatum. Listen to me, you cheating man, get back home before dark, or I'll settle accounts with you. But Nanzhi didn't know that the moment she turned off the screen and put her phone into her pocket, Feng's WeChat avatar had changed from the headshot on the marriage certificate to an eagle spreading its wings and soaring. Facing Nanzhi's misunderstanding, Feng used silence as the best response. Time will prove everything. Peking University talent Liu Xinyan once said, be quiet to cultivate yourself. You want to argue, but you remain silent. This is cultivation. Feng on the other side. He calmly put down his phone, supported himself on the floor and continued to complete the remaining 150 one-handed push-ups. This has been his morning habit since he and Nanzhi got married 3 years ago. He does 300 push-ups without fail. In the past 3 years, Nanzhi insisted on not having children. This exercise not only helps Feng reduce his internal heat, but also helps him maintain physical self-discipline. In fact, Nanzhi had no idea that Feng, the house husband in her eyes, had a muscular body that was no less than that of a male model, and his 8-pack abs were the best proof of that. Mr. Yi, breakfast and milk bath are ready. Would you like to eat first or take a bath first? At this time, a sexy figure came to the balcony. The girl in front of me is Lu Caiwei, the first of the 4 city beauties in Jiangbei City, wearing flat shoes, with slender legs, thin waist and sweet buttocks. Feng still remembers the scene last night clearly. The moment Lu Caiwei appeared in an evening dress, all the girls that Lu Wanlong's men had found were outshined and left in a dull and dejected manner. Her beauty is no longer just a temperament, but a powerful aura that overwhelms all others. The beauty of roses, the pride of peonies, the purity of lotus flowers. Lu Caiwei embodies many flower languages in one person, making countless men crazy and intoxicated by her. However, when Lu Caiwei saw Feng's shirtless body, she couldn't help but cover her sexy mouth. The beautiful face was surprised, and then gradually became dizzy with shame. Without waiting for Feng to reply, Lu Caiwei made a move that was inconsistent with her image as a cold and beautiful goddess. She quickly took out her cell phone, squatted sideways next to Feng, took a few photos, and then sent them to her father Lu Wanlong. Does this count as a breach of privacy? Feng did not stop moving and spoke in a steady breath. Just help me. My dad is pressing me. He wants to see the specific progress between you and me. Lu Caiwei blinked and explained with a smile. You don't seem to be afraid of me, you are very brave. Feng used his other hand to support his body. After drinking at Wanlong Resort Villa last night, Feng was picked up by Lu Caiwei and taken to her residence. With a beauty like this and her drinking, any fool would know what would happen next. First of all, I can drink a lot. I wasn't drunk at all last night. Secondly, I have practiced taekwondo and free fighting, so I have enough self-defense ability. The last point is that Master Yi is different from other young masters from wealthy families. I believe you won't force yourself on me. Lu Caiwei said calmly, squatting down on the spot, holding her cheek to admire Feng's perfect washboard-like abdominal muscles. What's the difference? Feng was performing the last 50 sprint movements. The sweat on my body dripped onto the ground with a sound like rain hitting the ground. The sound was pleasant and healing. The beauty of his muscle lines and the burst of hormones made Lu Caiwei's heart beat wildly and she kept swallowing saliva. She calmed herself down and said, I've studied psychology and have done in-depth research on micro-expressions. Plus, I've been taking over my family's business since college, so I've developed a pair of sharp eyes. I saw everything that Yi Xiao did last night. You were not drunk at all. Even when you came to my place and pushed me against the wall reeking of alcohol, you were deliberately trying to scare me. You have some reluctance towards another woman in your heart, but you also have the freedom and unrestrained spirit after leaving the cage. You use self-discipline to train yourself to start a new life. The wealthy young master who awakened from the dormant dragon scares me. Chapter 7, Your Su family's rules can't control me. After Lu Caiwei's words, Feng had to look at her with new eyes. Who would have thought that such a beautiful goddess who is so popular in Jiangbei City has such an intelligent side? She has a great family background and is a thoroughly wealthy second generation. Why would she need to work so hard to make progress? In this way, Feng couldn't help but secretly admire his father's selection and employment of people. The Jinshu Mingzhu commercial street, which cost more than 10 billion yuan, is guarded by the father and daughter Lu Caiwei and Lu Wanlong. It is like having both civil and military generals, which makes it very stable. Keep it up and put all your smarts and wisdom into your work. Yifeng praised and walked towards the bathroom. Lu Caiwei asked with a smile, "Master, do you need me to help you bathe? You are so beautiful. I let you look at my abs for so long. You are so lucky. Do you still want to take advantage of me?" Yifeng slammed the bathroom door shut. Lu Caiwei was giggling outside. She felt from the bottom of her heart that it was very interesting to be in the same room with Yifeng. "Su Nanzhi, you don't know how to cherish such a good man like Mr. Yi, so don't blame me for taking action," Lu Caiwei murmured. Around noon. Jiangbei Emperor Hotel. After the Su family held a funeral service for the old man in the morning, they booked a few tables here. Although the Su family in Jiangbei City cannot compare with the business giants like the Wanlong Group, they are also considered a wealthy family in the eyes of ordinary people. When Yifeng married Su Nanzhi, no one in the entire Su family agreed with this marriage except old man Su. Mr. Su used to work in the system. He was very good at judging people and felt that Yifeng was not an ordinary person. He has 3 sons and 1 daughter, and Su Nanzhi's father is the eldest. Mr. Su passed away last year, leaving behind a large courtyard house in the southern suburbs. This place will be demolished in a few years. The children of the Su family are all concerned about this room, so they are very obedient to the old lady. The Su family's company has 2 businesses, one is building materials, the other is decoration design. Therefore, the Su family gathered together today. In addition to celebrating the old man's death anniversary, they were also discussing the fat piece of meat, Jinshu Mingzhu commercial street. Mr. Su left a lot of shares to his wife, and the old lady has absolute say both in the company and at home. She used to be a university teacher, majoring in architectural design, and had a very high level of professional skills. The dishes were already on the table. Old Mrs. Su was holding a crested dog in her arms and feeding her dog a chicken leg. The dog probably caught a cold and had a poor appetite. He started vomiting after eating just a few bites. The old lady was caught off guard and her pants were soiled by vomit. "Yifeng, go and serve Xiaobai and the old lady." Su Nanzhi's father Su Hongguang immediately shouted at the top of his voice. This kind of dirty and tiring work is usually done by Yifeng, as the Su family is used to ordering him around. However, Yifeng did not show up for today's meal. Su Hongguang shouted subconsciously, and when he looked around the dining table, he suddenly found that Yifeng was not there. "Nanzhi, where is Yifeng? Today is the first anniversary of your grandfather's death. How dare he not come?" Su Hongguang was so angry that he blew his beard and glared. Without waiting for Su Nanzhi to reply, the old lady slammed the table and ordered, "Call the man surnamed Yi and call him over. He eats and drinks from my Su family and dares not to attend the old man's death anniversary. Does he want to rebel?" Su Yuhao volunteered, "Grandma, I'm going to catch Yifeng. I have to punish him today. This grandson stood me up last night. He's the one who caused all my injuries. Last night's humiliating experience made Su Yuhao hate Yifeng to death. No one wanted to deal with this guy more than him." "What? You were beaten up by Yifeng, that gigolo? He's really itching for trouble. Go find him now. I want to enforce the family rules." Old Mrs. Su was furious. There are only 2 grandchildren in the family. Su Yuhao is the youngest and the most favored by the old lady. "Sister, use your phone to call Yifeng and ask him where he is. This bastard has blocked my number." Su Yuhao walked up to his sister and said. Su Nanzhi didn't want to contact Yifeng at first, but considering the important occasion today, she took out her cell phone and called him. Yifeng did not block Su Nanzhi's phone number. After all, they still had to go through their divorce procedures. When the call was connected, Su Yuhao snatched the phone away and angrily asked, "Tell me where you are. Then stay where you are and don't move. I'll come over and catch you." "Catch me?" Yifeng was stunned. "That's right, I'm going to catch you. Today is the first anniversary of Grandpa's death. Why don't you come? Grandma is angry and is going to enforce family rules on you." Su Yuhao roared. "I have nothing to do with your Su family anymore. Your family rules can't control me. Besides, you should ask your sister why I didn't go to attend the anniversary of the old man's death." Yifeng replied calmly. What the fuck do you mean? Su Yuhao was confused. He didn't know that Yifeng and Su Nanzhi were going to divorce, and he still thought that Yifeng was just a dog that the Su family could call upon and dismiss at will. Xiaohao, let me talk to him. Su Nanzhi took the phone and said, Yifeng, Grandpa was always good to you when he was alive. There is no reason for you not to come. And you have to explain why Xiaohao is detained in Wanlong Resort. So no matter where you are now, come here quickly. We are in the Emperor Hall on the second floor of the Emperor Hotel. Her tone was the same as when she scolded Yifeng before, with an unquestionable majesty. I'm at the cemetery, burning paper to commemorate the old man. Su Nanzhi, please understand that I am done with you. You have no right to order me around anymore. As for your brother Su Yuhao's affairs, it has nothing to do with me. What can I explain to you? Listen carefully, I don't want to go to your Su family's family banquet, and your Su family's family rules can't control me. After saying that, Yifeng hung up the phone. Su Nanzhi's face was frosty and her chest was shaking with anger. She couldn't understand why Yifeng was so determined to divorce her. Sister, where is that grandson? Su Yuhao asked. He said he was burning paper for his grandfather at the cemetery. Su Nanzhi spoke subconsciously, her mind was a little blank and her heart was in a mess. Grandma, I'll go get it for Yifeng right away. Don't wipe the dirt off your body yet. Wait for that bastard Nanzhi to get here and let him lick it clean. Su Yuhao rushed out angrily. Nanzhi, what did that loser Yifeng say on the phone? Why are you so absent-minded? Su Nanzhi's mother couldn't help but ask when she saw that her daughter looked very bad. He had an argument with me last night over a small matter, and he actually went to Wanlong Resort to look for an internal model, and was photographed by my bestie. After Su Nanzhi finished speaking, the whole room went into an uproar. What? Yifeng, this loser, actually dares to look for a lady. Su Hongguan was so angry that his face turned red. How could the Su family raise such a bastard? He dared to use the Su family's money to find an internal model. You must divorce this dog man. Su's mother slammed the table and roared. Chapter 8. If he dares to cheat, kick this bastard out of the house. It's true that Yifeng is wrong to find an internal model, but Nanzhi has been married for 3 years and doesn't want to have children, so it's normal for him to go out and cheat. Amid the Su family's abuse, a mocking voice was heard. The person who spoke was the eldest daughter of the second son of the Su family, Su Xiaofei, who was also Su Nanzhi's cousin. Su Lao'er and his wife had 2 daughters. Moreover, he was sandwiched between the eldest and the third son. He was not loved by his father and his mother, so he was never liked by the old lady. Therefore, the 2 daughters of the second son's family usually don't get along well with Su Nanzhi. That's right. They are a couple, but they don't have any children. They even sleep in separate rooms. What man can stand that? Su Xiaofei's sister Su Xiaoxiao echoed. Shut up, both of you. The old lady scolded, looked at Su Nanzhi and said, when you married that loser Yifeng, your grandfather was the only one in our family who agreed. Now he has been gone for a year, it's time for you and that loser Yifeng to end it. Bring him here later, Xiaohao, and I'll let you get a divorce. If he dares to cheat, I'll kick this bastard out of the house. Grandma will help you find a lawyer. When the old lady spoke, no one dared to refute her. Su Nanzhi could only nod obediently. However, if she really had to hire a lawyer to file for divorce, the child in her belly would be a big problem, and it would be unrealistic to expect Yifeng to leave the house with nothing. The old lady continued, Nanzhi and Yifeng's affairs are not important. It just so happens that you are all here today. I'm sure you have all heard about the Jinqiu Mingzhu Commercial Street project. Next, our Su family must do everything we can to win this big order. If the Su family can take over the Jinqiu Mingzhu Commercial Street, which cost over 10 billion yuan, the family's strength will definitely be among the top 3 in Jiangbei. Even if the old lady didn't say it, every member of the Su family present knew that this opportunity was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The old lady glanced at her children and promised them benefits. Whoever of the 4 of you wins this order, I will give you 10% of the shares that the old man left me as a reward. In addition, the year-end dividends and bonuses will be doubled. The Su family members suddenly shouted wildly, and gold appeared in their eyes. You know, the old lady has the most shares in the company. If you can get that 10%, then when she passes away, the one who holds the most shares will naturally be able to take control of the company. The Su family was like a bunch of chicken blood, and they secretly swore in their hearts that they would negotiate this big deal no matter what the cost. However, they would never have dreamed that the Jinshu Mingzhu they coveted was invested by Yi Feng's father, and the person in charge of this project was Yi Feng, the gigolo whom they had always looked down upon and scolded for 3 years. Garden Cemetery. As soon as Yi Feng walked out of the gate, Su Yuhao's car drove over. He didn't come alone. In addition to the 3 friends from last night, there were also 2 professional thugs. Su Yuhao hired these 2 men from a professional security company. They were both over 1.9 meters tall, and their sturdy arms and fists looked like they could beat a cow to death. "You bastard, I finally caught you." Su Yuhao got angry when he saw Yi Feng, and surrounded him with 5 people. There is a Maybach parked at the entrance of the garden cemetery. This is the car that Lu Wanlong gave to Yi Feng. In addition, there was a driver and bodyguard following Yi Feng. This man is the most capable general in the Wanlong society. His name is Yusheng. "Go wait for me in the car." Just as Yusheng was about to step forward, Yi Feng shouted him away. Yi Feng had long wanted to deal with Su Yuhao, this playboy. In the past, he loved Su Nanzhi and could tolerate everything. No matter what his brother-in-law asked Yi Feng to do, he would do it without hesitation. But now, there is no need. Yi Feng has been taking the blame for Su Yuhao for 3 years, and now it's time for him to return the favor. "Damn it, if you hadn't stood me up last night, we brothers wouldn't have been tortured all night. I've prepared a steel wool for you so that you can also experience the feeling of being ravaged by an old woman." Su Yuhao cursed and ordered the 2 thugs beside him, "Go up and hold him down, and take off his clothes." The 2 thugs didn't hesitate and took the money to help the man get rid of the disaster. They raised their strong arms, one on the left and one on the right, and grabbed Yi Feng's shoulders fiercely. Unexpectedly, Yi Feng dodged lightly, leaped up on the spot, and swept out with a high whip kick like a stick. After 2 loud bangs, the 2 professional thugs fell directly to the ground, screaming in pain. Su Yuhao and his 3 younger brothers were dumbfounded on the spot. Especially Su Yuhao, his eyes were as big as copper bells. He was confused and shocked. When did the Su family's gigolo become so good at fighting? Just looking at the 2 moves he made just now, they were definitely practiced. In Su Yuhao's impression, Yi Feng could only be a nanny at home. In the past, he scolded him and kicked him, but he never dared to fight back. This scene also shocked Yusheng, who was in the car. Even if he did it himself, he wouldn't be able to do it as smoothly as Yi Feng. He is a martial artist, and as the saying goes, an expert can tell whether a person is strong or weak just by looking at his moves. Yi Feng's body movements and speed are both the best, and it's obvious that he has put a lot of effort into it. Yusheng originally had the same opinion as Lu Caiwei. As a young master of a wealthy family, Yi Feng grew up in a greenhouse and it was impossible for him to have any real ability except squandering money. Unexpectedly, Yi Feng taught Yusheng a severe lesson. He, the eldest son of a wealthy family, is really different from other rich second generations. "Brother Hao, your brother-in-law is such a good fighter. His coming, you better think of a solution. He beat down 2 professional fighters. The 4 of us are no match for him at all. Brother Hao, let's run." Su Yuhao's 3 younger brothers were terribly scared. "Yi Feng, I'm your brother-in-law. If you dare to touch me, my sister will never let you off easily." Su Yuhao brought up his sister to shock Yi Feng. "You still don't understand why I didn't pay your bill last night, so you better listen carefully. Your sister and I are already going through the divorce process, and you are no longer my brother-in-law." Yi Feng confronted Su Yuhao directly. You are mentally ill. The Su family provides you with food and clothing, and my sister is so beautiful, why do you want to divorce her?" Su Yuhao looked confused. "Your sister cheated on her, and she's pregnant with Qin Beishan's child. Why don't you divorce her and keep her for the new year?" Yi Feng said sternly. "You are talking nonsense. How could my sister do such a ridiculous thing?" Su Yuhao shook his head frantically, refusing to believe it. Even he, an uneducated playboy, knew that this was ridiculous, but Su Nanzhi didn't think he had done anything wrong. "How ridiculous? Stop slandering my sister. You must be trying to take away my family's property through divorce," Su Yuhao said in a resounding voice. Yi Feng laughed so hard that his stomach hurt. The Su family's assets were like sesame seeds in the eyes of this wealthy young man. Chapter 9, You were acting in self-defense. "Do you want me to hire a lawyer to sue him? I'm divorcing your sister, and I won't ask your Su family for a penny. But, I have been taking the blame for you, Su Yuhao, for 3 years. I want to get this debt back now. Yifeng took a step forward and stood in front of Su Yuhao, his fierce aura like a sharp sword. You dare? I have a knife. Su Yuhao grabbed a dagger and stabbed Yifeng fiercely. But Yifeng was faster than him. He grabbed Su Yuhao's wrist like lightning and pinched his arm hard, forcing him to drop the dagger. It hurts, it's broken. Su Yuhao screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Bang! Yifeng slapped Su Yuhao with a big punch, and he could no longer howl. I broke 5 of your ribs, and not only did you not even say sorry, you didn't even visit me, your brother-in-law, in the hospital. Now, you too will experience the feeling of having your ribs broken. Yifeng pointed at his left ribs, then clenched his fist and smashed Su Yuhao's ribs. After 3 bangs, Su Yuhao fell to the ground with his facial features distorted. He was in so much pain that he couldn't even scream. He felt like he was going to die. None of his 3 younger brothers came forward to help or support him, they just huddled together trembling. However, Yifeng did not let Su Yuhao go. Breaking 5 of his ribs was just the beginning. Yifeng stepped forward and grabbed Su Yuhao's collar, lifted him up with one hand, and threw him directly onto the car nearby. The year your sister and I first got married, you offended a big shot in the next city, and I was your punching bag. I got hit by at least 50 punches that day. After Yifeng finished speaking, he punched down wildly. He punched Su Yuhao left and right, leaving him with a black eye and a swollen face. His nose was bleeding, his mouth was crooked, and several teeth were knocked out. After 50 punches, Su Yuhao collapsed on the ground half dead. Last year you bullied a high school girl, and her parents came to our house with the police. I took a kick in the crotch and 2 slaps from the parents for you. After Yifeng finished speaking, he kicked Su Yuhao in the crotch and then slapped him twice. Su Yuhao fainted on the spot. His body has been hollowed out by alcohol and sex, and he can't stand a beating at all. Yifeng went back to the car to get a bottle of mineral water, drank it and sprayed it on Su Yuhao's face to wake him up. And one last time. Earlier this year, I took the blame for you and got hacked in the head. I had to get 8 stitches on my head. After Yifeng finished speaking, he picked up a brick and hit Su Yuhao on the head. The time when his head was cut open was extremely dangerous and he almost went to hell. The wound was only a few centimeters away from his eye, otherwise he would have definitely become a one-eyed man. A brick hit him and Su Yuhao collapsed like mud. Yifeng made a gesture to Yusheng, who quickly got out of the car and walked over to help Yifeng wipe the blood off his hands. At this time, Su Yuhao's 3 younger brothers had already run away and disappeared. They have never been very righteous. If they don't run, are they waiting to be beaten up by Yifeng? Send these 2 and Su Yuhao to their hospital together. I'll pay for the medical expenses. Yifeng instructed Yusheng. Clear. Yusheng obeyed the order and did as he was told. If he takes over the matter, Su Yuhao can be forgiven, but these 2 thugs will definitely not end well. If you mess with the Wanlong Society and Master Yi, you'd be lucky enough if you weren't thrown into the river to feed the fish. Yusheng quickly threw Su Yuhao and the other 2 into the car, and as he drove away, he said to Yifeng, Young Master Yi, Su Yuhao was the one who attacked with a knife, and you were acting in self-defense. Do you want me to hire a lawyer to sue him? Just arrange it. Yifeng said lightly. Okay. Yusheng left with a smile. He drove away the car that Su Yuhao and others brought, and left the Maybach to Yifeng. Emperor Hotel. The Su family members were waiting for Su Yuhao to catch Yifeng, and the old lady had already asked the waiter for a whip. The Su family's family rules are very strict, and no less than 100 lashes can be made. The old lady is in charge now and she will definitely not let Yifeng off easily. But after waiting for a long time and finishing the meal, Su Yuhao still didn't come back. The old lady was worried, so she asked Su Nanzhi to call her brother to ask. As soon as Su Nanzhi took out her cell phone, a call came in. The screen showed that it was her younger brother Su Yuhao's number. Xiaohao, why haven't you come back yet? Su Nanzhi asked quickly after answering the phone. Hello, this is Jiangbei People's Hospital. Su Yuhao is currently receiving treatment in our hospital. You are his family member, right? Come over here quickly. The voice on the phone was not Su Yuhao's, but the hospital's nurse. My brother, okay, I'll be there right away. Su Yuhao didn't have time to ask any questions, so he put away his phone and quickly explained the situation to his family. What? Xiao Hao is in the hospital. Didn't he go to catch Feng? Su Hongguang had a lot of question marks on his face. Could it be that my precious son was beaten by that beast Feng? Su's mother started howling immediately. Go! The old lady took the lead and walked out. The Su family rushed to the hospital. On their way, Su Nanzhi received another call, and then she understood the whole story of her brother being admitted to the hospital. The call came from a friend who went with Su Yuhao. He saw with his own eyes Feng beating Su Yuhao up. However, he didn't know that Su Yuhao was in the hospital. He just notified Su Nanzhi to hurry up and save her brother. This beast deserves to be cut into pieces. What right did he have to hit my precious son? If anything happens to Xiaohao, I will kill that bastard named Yi. Su's mother pounded the car seat and roared like a lion in anger. He is really rebellious. Not only is cheating on me not enough, he even dared to attack Xiaohao. Not only will I find someone to deal with him, but I will also make him spend the rest of his life in jail. Su's father, Su Hongguang, gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. Su Nanzhi, who was driving, also had red eyes. Feng's actions today completely angered her. A group of people rushed into the hospital, and Su Yuhao was still receiving treatment in the operating room. As the Su family waited anxiously, a middle-aged man carrying a briefcase walked over. Who is Su Yuhao's parent? The middle-aged man asked loudly. I'm his father, who are you? Su Hongguang was angry and asked unhappily. My last name is Li, and I'm from Guanghua Law Firm. I'm authorized by Mr. Feng to file a lawsuit against Su Yuhao for the knife attack. This is the lawyer's letter. Please receive it on behalf of your son. Lawyer Li sent a lawyer's letter. Su Hongguang and others were all dumbfounded. His son was beaten by Feng so badly that he had to go into the operating room. He was clearly a victim, so how did he become the defendant of knife attack? What the hell is going on? Before the Su family could figure it out, Lawyer Li took out another lawyer's letter and asked, Who is Ms. Su Nanzhi? What is wrong with me? Su Nanzhi took a step forward. Mr. Feng has entrusted me to represent him in his divorce with you. According to Mr. Yi, Ms. Su became pregnant with someone else's child without divorcing Mr. Yi. You also showed Mr. Yi the pregnancy test form. Before Lawyer Li finished speaking, the Su family members present were all scratching their heads and going crazy. Moreover, Lawyer Li spoke very loudly and there were many people passing by. This is a scandal of the Su family. Chapter 10. The pregnancy test report was fake, she didn't cheat at all. Fuck, cheating on her husband isn't enough, she actually gave birth to a child for another man behind her husband's back. This is too outrageous. Isn't this Su Nanzhi one of the four city flowers of Jiangbei City? She seemed to have been selected as a young entrepreneur last year. I didn't expect her character to be so bad. She is not only a bad person, she is simply a slut. A woman who is unfaithful to her husband should have been thrown into a pig cage in the past. How can she deserve the title of market beauty and young entrepreneur? People around were pointing and talking, and Su Nanzhi was surrounded by endless humiliation and insults. She suddenly felt like she was stripped naked and wished she could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. The other members of the Su family felt even more ashamed and turned their backs, covering their faces. Old Madame Su slammed her cane hard and shouted at the onlookers without caring about her old face, You believe the lawyer's bullshit, get out of here, or I will lie on the ground immediately. Oh my god, the old lady is trying to blackmail us, let's go. Nowadays, those who don't have a mine at home are afraid of being blackmailed by the elderly, so the crowd of onlookers quickly dispersed. That's not right. Feng has always been a nanny at home and has never worked outside. Where did he get the money to hire a lawyer? At this time, Su's mother suddenly spoke in confusion. She looked at her daughter Su Nanzhi and asked, Nanzhi, did you pity Feng and secretly give him money? I don't have any. Su Nanzhi shook her head frantically. Then he stole the money. It's not enough for this loser to be a gigolo, he's also a thief. We need to call the police and arrest him. Su's mother said angrily. Lawyer Li said righteously, You have framed my client without any evidence. I will record this crime against you. Su's mother sneered, Do you think I was brought up by fear? Do you think my Su family can't afford a lawyer? The old lady took over the conversation and said, Lawyer Li, no matter how much lawyer fees that loser Feng gives you, my Su family will pay double. She wanted to bribe Lawyer Li with money and cut off Yi Feng's financial support. Now it was Lawyer Li who sneered, "Even if the Su family pays 10 times the lawyer's fee, I won't help you with the lawsuit." Why? The old lady and the Su family expressed their confusion. "Because you are all a bunch of stupid pigs." Lawyer Li said this and turned and left. The Su family doesn't even know that there is a hidden young master around them. What else can they be but idiots? "Don't leave if you dare, I'll beat you to death." Su's mother was so angry that she was about to chase Lawyer Li. Su Hongwan quickly grabbed his wife and glared at her. "Are you crazy? You even dare to hit a lawyer?" Su Xiaofei interrupted at this time and said, "The Guanghua law firm where Lawyer Li works is very famous in our Jiangbei city. I heard that it was acquired by the Wanlong Group last year. They specialize in litigation for the Wanlong Club." When these words were spoken, everyone in the audience was shocked. Everyone thought of a serious problem. If what Su Xiaofei said is true, Lawyer Li has now become the client of that loser Yi Feng, so doesn't that mean he is related to the Wanlong Group? "Xiaofei, is your information reliable?" Su's mother asked. Without waiting for Su Xiaofei to reply, the old lady glared at him and said, "You can't trust him at all. Yi Feng is a piece of trash. He is not even worthy of being the head of Wanlong Group. He must have used the money he stole from Nanzhi to bribe the lawyer. This lawyer surnamed Li is just taking orders privately to make extra money." The Su family nodded frequently, having no doubt about the old lady's words. But Su Xiaofei added, "Even so, Sister Nanzhi was the one who cheated first. It is impossible for us to get Yi Feng out of the house with nothing." "My daughter, how can you be so confused? Isn't Qin Beishan dying? What good will it do you to bear a child for him?" Su's mother was so angry that she beat her chest and stamped her feet. "Nanzhi, what is going on?" the old lady asked angrily. "Grandmother." Just as Su Nanzhi was about to explain, a tall figure in a hospital gown suddenly walked over. "Grandma Su, Nanzhi's pregnancy test report is fake. She didn't cheat at all." The person who came was Su Nanzhi's first love, Qin Beishan. Although he was wearing a hospital gown, he was indeed handsome. This kid is of mixed blood, his father is from the Korn Empire. He has a very positive upper bloodline, and many girls like this type of him. "Beishan, why are you here?" Su Nanzhi was worried about Qin Beishan's health and hurried forward to support him. Qin Beishan was staying in the People's Hospital, in a VIP ward, and Su Nanzhi helped pay for it. Qin Beishan heard the nurse in the ward what had just happened in the hospital, and he ran over in his hospital gown. "Yi Feng wronged you, of course I have to prove it for you." Qin Bei smiled tenderly. But although Su Nanzhi felt warm in her heart, Qin Beishan was obviously helping her lie. That pregnancy test report was not fake at all, she was really pregnant. Qin Beishan didn't let Su Nanzhi speak. He looked at the old lady and the Su family and said, "I was so desperate last night that I wanted to end my life because I had mentioned to her before that I wanted to leave a legacy for the Qin family. Nanzhi deliberately took a fake pregnancy test form to persuade me. She is a good woman, please don't blame her. It turned out to be a fake pregnancy. That's what I was thinking. How could my daughter do such a ridiculous thing?" Su's mother breathed a sigh of relief. Nanzhi's pregnancy was fake. Yi Feng can't get his property if he files for divorce. The one who really cheated on him is this bastard. Not only did this bastard wrongly accuse my granddaughter, he also beat Xiaohao so badly that he had to be hospitalized. Does he think my Su family is easy to bully? When Xiaohao is out of danger, you should contact our family's connections immediately. We will have a meeting tonight to discuss how to deal with that beast Yi Feng," the old lady said through gritted teeth. "Good." The Su family cheered. Not only could Yi Feng not get a share of the Su family's property, but with the Su family's connections, he would definitely be in big trouble. "Beishan, I'll take you back to the ward. You can't run around. What if you get sick?" Su Nanzhi carefully supported Qin Beishan and walked towards his ward. "Grandma Su, I'll come back to see you when I feel better." "Aunt Su, Uncle Su, I'm going back first." Qin Beishan appeared very polite in front of the Su family and said goodbye to each of them sweetly. Hey, why is such a handsome man dying? If nothing happens to Beishan, when he returns to China, he will just happen to see Nanzhi getting divorced from that bastard Yi Feng. Isn't this a perfect time for remarriage? Su's mother felt regretful. Su Xiaofei stared at Qin Beishan's back for a while, then turned around and couldn't help muttering, Isn't it said that people with cancer are very weak and thin? This Qin Beishan looks tall and strong, he doesn't look like a dying man at all. Unfortunately, the other members of the Su family were all staring at the operating room, worried about Su Yuhao's danger, and no one heard Su Xiaofei's muttering. The other side. Su Nanzhi helped Qin Beishan into the elevator. Beishan, thank you for helping me out just now, but this matter cannot be concealed from the court. Feng has already hired a lawyer to file for divorce from me. The court will definitely be able to retrieve my pregnancy test report from the hospital. Su Nanzhi said worriedly. Chapter 11. Let us part ways in peace. Nanzhi, you just need to keep it a secret from outsiders and the Su family, because this kind of divorce case will never be heard in public. Your personal image cannot be destroyed. You must keep the title of Jiangbei City Flower and Young Entrepreneur, otherwise your Su family company will definitely be deeply affected. As for your divorce from Feng, it's nothing more than giving him more money. What's the big deal? At most, I'll pay for it. Qin Beishan said generously. Su Nanzhi was moved. Qin Beishan's words really touched her heart. In an era where business is king, if Su Nanzhi were exposed for cheating, it would be a huge blow to the reputation of the Su family company, and the business would definitely plummet. After all, it was still her beloved first love, Bai Yueguan, who ran over to help her out even though he was weak. If only he had gotten sick. Su Nanzhi felt a pang of sadness in her heart. Thank you, Beishan, I will definitely find a way to get a famous doctor to cure you. You still have a lot of time, don't give up. Su Nanzhi encouraged seriously. I'm not afraid of death, I'm just worried that no one will take care of you in the future. Let's not talk about this anymore. Go back quickly. Brother Xiaohao needs you. Qin Beishan said considerately. I'll take you back first. It won't take that much time. Su Nanzhi insisted on sending Qin Beishan back to the ward. When he lay down and Su Nanzhi was about to leave, Qin Beishan suddenly said, "Oh, by the way, Nanzhi, I have good news to tell you. Is your family trying every possible way to get the order from Jinshu Mingzhu? Coincidentally, my aunt called me yesterday and said she was transferred from the head office in Jinghai to Jinshu Mingzhu Industrial Group. You may not know that this Jinshu Mingzhu commercial street has a very deep background. It is not the Wanlong Group that is investing in it, but the Red Leaf Chamber of Commerce, a well-known northern merchant in Longhua." Qin Beishan revealed a piece of important news to Su Nanzhi. Oh my god, it turns out that Jinshu Pearl was invested by the Red Leaf Chamber of Commerce. Su Nanzhi was shocked. As a female elite in the business world, how could she not know how powerful the Red Leaf Chamber of Commerce is? There is the Truman Chamber of Commerce in the south and the Red Leaf Chamber of Commerce in the north. These two chambers of commerce dominate the business world and are two unshakable mountains of wealth. Su Nanzhi didn't expect that Qin Beishan's aunt would appear at this time. She was transferred from the head office to Jiangbei City Jinshu Mingzhu Industrial Group, which was absolutely a timely help. Nanzhi, you must prepare your pregnancy test form. If my aunt sees it, she will definitely help you with all her might. You are pregnant with our Qin family's child. Qin Beishan reminded. Naturally, his aunt's surname is also Qin. Su Nanzhi is pregnant with the Qin family's child. Qin Beishan's aunt is helping Su Nanzhi and the Su family, which is actually helping her own family. Beishan, you are really my lucky koi. Su Nanzhi was both touched and happy. Go tell your family the good news. I'm in good health today. You don't have to worry about me. Qin Beishan waved at Su Nanzhi. Su Nanzhi nodded and walked away excitedly. After she left, Qin Beishan's cell phone rang. He picked it up, took a look, then quickly got out of bed and went to the bathroom. When answering the phone, Qin Beishan was very careful and even turned up the faucet, fearing that there might be ears on the other side of the wall. Su Yuhao's operation is over. He was quickly wheeled into the ward. In fact, this kid only had superficial injuries on his body, and he couldn't hold on because of his weak physical condition. Broken ribs are not a serious injury. You just need to rest after they are reconnected. Even though Feng hit him with a brick, he only had 8 stitches on his head. The attending doctor left after explaining the situation to the Su family. Su Yuhao was not in any danger at all and could go home after resting in the hospital for a few days. Su Yuhao had already woken up, but was just lying there in a daze. "Xiao Hao, why did that beastie Feng hit you?" Su's mother asked anxiously. Don't mention him, don't mention him. He is the devil. It's my fault. I shouldn't have gone to him. Unexpectedly, Su Yuhao was traumatized by Yi Feng's beating and became extremely emotional. I want to apologize to him. I shouldn't have treated him like that. For 3 years, I ordered him around like my grandson. How did he get by during these 3 years? He is my brother-in-law, how could I be such a bastard? Brother-in-law, I'm sorry, please don't hit me, I know I was wrong, woo-woo. Su Yuhao burst into tears. The instrument beside the bed made a beeping sound and the nurse hurried in. Don't keep so many people here. The patient needs to rest now. Don't talk too much to him. Let him calm down on his own. The nurse drove the Su family away, then went back to prepare medicine to give Su Yuhao some sedatives. Xiaohao's mom stays here to look after him. The rest of you should contact your connections and gather for a meeting immediately. That bastard Yi Feng hurt Xiaohao like this, he must pay the price. The old lady said fiercely. Grandma, I just got some good news from Qin Beishan. Before Su Nanzhi could finish her words, the old lady interrupted her and said, Old lady, I just want to avenge my grandson now. Call Yi Feng to the company. If he doesn't come, go and tie him up for me. Okay Grandma, I will definitely bring Yi Feng over. Su Nanzhi nodded seriously. Not only because of her younger brother Su Yuhao's matter, but also the divorce, Su Nanzhi also had to explain everything to Yi Feng. Su Nanzhi left the hospital before the old lady, got into the car and called Yi Feng. Where are you? I'll find you. Su Nanzhi's tone was as cold, arrogant and majestic as ever. I have already entrusted the divorce matter to a lawyer, why are you still looking for me? Yi Feng didn't give Su Nanzhi a good look. He no longer loves Su Nanzhi, so there is no reason for him to be controlled by his wife anymore, nor is there any need to be polite to his cheating ex-wife. I've already got the lawyer's letter, but I don't think you need to go to so much trouble. Just come and see me, and I'll sign the divorce agreement right away, and we can part ways amicably. In order to call Yi Feng to the company to accept punishment from his grandmother, Su Nanzhi used signing the divorce agreement as an excuse. You said it, send me the address. Yi Feng agreed. He didn't want to engage in a divorce war of attrition with Su Nanzhi. The sooner it is finished, the better he can concentrate on the commercial street project of Jinshu Mingzhu. Go to Su's company, I'll wait for you there. Su Nanzhi gave the address. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The Su family's famous company. There were many people gathered in the large conference room. There are core members of the Su family, as well as reinforcements called by the Su family, most of whom are business partners of the Su family. Yi Feng had arrived, but did not see Su Nanzhi. An employee of Sihai Mingyan Company led Yi Feng into the meeting room. As soon as he entered, Su Yuhao's father Su Hongguang yelled, Fuck you Yi Feng, you dare to hit my son, I'll kill you. He pounced on him with a roar. Yi Feng frowned, glanced at everyone in the conference room, and instantly understood Su Nanzhi's sinister intentions. This was not a good parting at all, it was clearly a hongmen banquet prepared for him by the Su family. Chapter 12 Grandma, I brought you a big shot. I'm not here to fight today. Get out of my way or I'll be rude to you. Yi Feng said lightly and dodged lightly by turning sideways. Su Hongguang missed his target and fell headfirst onto the water dispenser behind the door. As luck would have it, the water dispenser was knocked over, and the bottled water on it splashed all over Su Hongguang. First it was hot water and then cold water. The sourness of the two worlds of ice and fire made Su Hongguang scream. You are such a good person, Yi Feng. You even beat your father-in-law. Are you still a human being? The third son of the Su family came up with his son Su Yuqian to help. Su Laosan helped his eldest brother Su Hongguang up. Su Yuqian stared at Yi Feng fiercely and said, You won't be able to jump around for much longer. My grandmother has teamed up with people from all walks of life to punish you. You will soon have trouble staying in Jiangbei City. You'll just become a stray dog. The garbage dump is where you, a piece of trash, will end up. Yi Feng laughed so hard that he felt numb. The Su family is just joining forces to make it difficult for a young master from a wealthy family to survive. It's really hilarious. Okay, then I want to see how you can make it difficult for me to survive. Yi Feng sat down at the conference table with a swagger. Bang! An old figure walked into the conference room and tapped his cane on the floor. It was the old lady of the Su family, Wan Hongmin. This is a company, not a place for fighting. Everyone, take your seats. The meeting will begin immediately. The old lady sat at the head of the long table with a dignified look and a gloomy face. As for Yi Feng, she swept her fierce eyes over him, and Ling Ran said, "You wrongly accused my granddaughter of cheating on you, and then you went to see a model at night, and you even dared to beat my grandson this morning. Do you really think that my Su family is easy to bully? Wrongly accuse your granddaughter? Is this what Su Nanzhi said?" Yi Feng's veins were bulging. Su Nanzhi showed Yi Feng the pregnancy test report, and the hospital could get the results with just a simple check. Where does the injustice come from? Qin Beishan personally confirmed that Nanzhi only used a fake note to persuade him not to commit suicide. She was doing a good deed, but you got angry because of it. Not only did you run to find the inner model with a petty mind, but you also took the opportunity to vent your anger on Xiaohao. Yi Feng, you are a complete villain. I swear here that I will not be called Guan if I don't avenge this. As long as I am alive, there will be no place for you in Jiangbei City. I will let you know the price of angering my Su family. The old lady slammed the table and roared. What a fake list! Yi Feng really experienced the lying skills of Qin Beishan and Su Nanzhi. This pair of dogs even deceived their family members. The old lady said that the fake order was confirmed by Qin Beishan himself, so how could Yi Feng not understand the reason? Once Su Nanzhi's extramarital affair scandal is exposed, the Su family's famous company will be affected. This is Qin Beishan's delaying tactic, and Su Nanzhi will definitely cooperate with him fully. Old lady, we don't want to get involved in your family affairs. You called us here and said you wanted to punish Yi Feng. What benefit can we get? At this time, a fat man spoke impatiently. Those who come to the Su family company for meetings are all partners. From a business perspective, who would be willing to work for nothing without getting any benefits? The fat man's words expressed everyone's thoughts, and everyone turned their eyes to the old lady. Among these people, the fat guy is the strongest. He works in logistics in Jiangbei City and his name is Zhu Ruida. The remaining 6, some run restaurants, some run pharmaceutical factories. They are all leaders in their respective industries and are well-known figures in Jiangbei City. Just as the old lady was about to promise a favor, Su Nanzhi suddenly walked in with a noble lady. "Grandma, I brought you an important person. This is Director Qin, who has just arrived at Jinshu Mingzhu Industrial Group. She is Beishan's aunt." Su Nanzhi solemnly introduced the noble lady beside her. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire conference room was in an uproar. No one expected that Su Nanzhi could invite such a great person. The Jinshu Mingzhu Commercial Street project has such a huge influence in Jiangbei City that various operations have been gradually launched. Who among those present doesn't want to get a piece of the pie? Spending more than 10 billion yuan, just drinking some soup costs millions. Old lady Guan Hongmin almost fell when she stood up to greet him. She quickly invited Director Qin to take a seat as if she was inviting an old lady. Only then did she understand the good news that Su Nanzhi had told her in the hospital. It turned out that Qin Beishan had helped his aunt to raise money. Now it's settled. The old lady doesn't even have to promise benefits to the reinforcements she invites in. Director Qin alone is enough to make these reinforcements submit to her. Old lady, your operation is amazing. The logistics boss Zhu Ruidar couldn't help but give old lady Su a thumbs up, then quickly came to the lady's side, bowed and said, "Hello, Director Qin. I am Zhu Ruidar from Ruidar Logistics. Your temperament is so stunning that I feel like you are a college graduate. You are so beautiful that I am almost blinded." Qin Beishan's aunt Qin Xianbing is indeed not very old, only 32 years old this year. Zhu Ruidar licked very well, but Qin Xianbing just nodded lightly and didn't even give him a chance to shake hands. Zhu Ruidar sat back in disappointment, and other big bosses also hurriedly introduced themselves, trying to make themselves familiar in front of Director Qin. "Nanzhi, sit next to me." Qin Xianbing ignored everyone else and only had eyes for Su Nanzhi. Because she was pregnant with the Qin family's child. After Su Nanzhi finished calling Yi Feng, she went to find Qin Xianbing. According to Qin Beishan's instructions, she showed Qin Xianbing the pregnancy test form. Qin Xianbing was very happy, so she agreed to come with Su Nanzhi to help the Su family deal with Yi Feng. "Which one is Yi Feng?" Qin Xianbing took over the position immediately, glanced around the meeting room and spoke sternly. The old lady pointed at Yi Feng standing opposite her and roared, "It's him. This damn bastard beat up my grandson and cheated on his wife. Director Qin, you have to make the decision for our Su family. The old lady was very shrewd and impatient. She had already noticed that Director Qin was particularly fond of Su Nanzhi. In this case, why not let Su Nanzhi divorce Feng quickly and then throw herself into Qin Baishan's arms? Even if Qin Baishan is dying, so what? It would be better to die. Su Nanzhi was not only able to get a big order from Jinxiu Mingzhu by taking advantage of Qin Baishan's family property, but also relying on her relationship with his aunt. This is a good thing that kills two birds with one stone. The old lady is eager for Su Nanzhi and Feng to divorce quickly. Your last name is also Yi. What a coincidence. The big boss of the Chamber of Commerce behind our Jinxiu Mingzhu Industrial Group is named Yi. Could you be his illegitimate child? Qin Xianbing sneered. Everyone could tell that she was being sarcastic on purpose. How could Yi Feng, a good-for-nothing who lived off the Su family, become the illegitimate son of the Chamber of Commerce's big boss? But the fact is, Yi Feng is not an illegitimate child, he is the biological son of the Chamber of Commerce's big boss. But at this time Yi Feng was still wondering why his father had never mentioned Director Qin to him. Also, is T Jinxiu Mingzhu Commercial Street operated by Lu Wanlong and Lu Caiwei from Wanlong Group? Send a director to deal in this mess. Yi Feng planned to fire the young director who was so pretentious. If you have something to say, just say it. Don't make fun of my last name. Yi Feng knocked on the table and said lightly. Chapter 13. I want you to pay me back now. Why don't you want to? You are a useless gigolo who doesn't even deserve my joke. I will only give you one choice, leave the house and divorce Nanzhi. I really don't know what Nanzhi was thinking. Why did she marry a loser like you? Look at yourself, how can you be worthy of my Nanzhi? You've wasted 3 years of her best time. We won't ask you for compensation for mental damages because you can't afford it. Qin Xuanbing's eyes were full of disgust, as if looking at Yi Feng for one more second would dirty her beautiful and noble eyes. Yi Feng almost peed himself laughing. He is the eldest son of the Red Leaf Chamber of Commerce, how could he be worthy of Su Nanzhi, who came from a second-rate family in Jiangbei City? And Qin Xianbing, a subordinate who works for his father, actually looks down on his boss's own son? This Qin Xianbing is really blind and pretentious. Yi Feng really wanted to ask her, don't you make any strategies when you take office? Director Qin, Nanzhi and Yi Feng must divorce, but before they divorce, I must exercise my authority as the head of the Su family and enforce the Su family rules on him. At this time, old lady Su looked at Qin Xianbing and said, this scum stole Nanzhi's money to go out and look for an internal model, and also beat my grandson Su Yu Hao to insanity. This is the blood debt between my Su family and Yi Feng, and I must get it back. Qin Xianbing nodded and said, this kind of scum should be properly disciplined. I will help you here. He will not dare to resist. Just let go and help Nanzhi vent her anger. Old Madam Su chuckled, I feel relieved when you say that. I must make sure that beast Yi Feng is torn to pieces today. After saying that, she took out the whip she had prepared in advance and cracked it a few times in a show of force. At the same time, several reinforcements called by the Su family came forward to express their opinions. Zhu Ruida was the first to respond. He pointed at a tall man standing by the window behind him and said to Guan Hongmin, don't worry, old lady. The bodyguard I brought with me is the last Sonder champion of Jiangbei City. If Yi Feng dares to disobey the family rules, he will be beaten to a pulp. The next person came from a pharmaceutical company. He took 2 of his men and guarded the door of the conference room. The remaining 4 people walked to Yi Feng together, waiting for Mrs. Su's order to subdue Yi Feng and bring him to her. These 6 people expressed their loyalty to the Su family in order to show their goodwill to Qin Xianbing, all in order to get a share of Jinxiu Mingzhu's orders. Old Madame Su enjoyed the feeling of being accosted. She sneered, waved her whip, pointed at Yi Feng and shouted angrily, you bastard, get over here and accept the Su family's punishment. Everyone around sneered, believing that Yi Feng could not avoid the whip. Yi Feng's attention was not on old Mrs. Su, but on Su Nanzhi. He wanted to see how his ex-wife would react. He wanted to know if the woman he had loved for 3 years would feel sorry for him. A husband and wife once in a day are bound by 100 days of grace. Even if it's just a dog, you should have some feelings for it after raising it for 3 years. However, Su Nanzhi didn't say a word from beginning to end. She didn't dare to look Yi Feng in the eye, and glanced out the window with her hands folded. His beautiful profile was enough to kill the young woman Qin Xianbing in seconds, but now in Yi Feng's eyes, he looked so ugly. I'm talking to you. Are you deaf? Hurry up and get out of here and accept the Su family's punishment. Seeing Yifeng sitting there indifferent, Zhu Ruida stood up and slammed the table in extreme annoyance, and winked at the Sonder champion bodyguard. The tall and mighty bodyguard stepped over, stretched out his strong arms and grabbed Yifeng's shoulders, trying to pick him up and bring him to old Lady Su. Unexpectedly, the next scene shocked everyone present. Yifeng raised his hand and flipped it over, and the seat under him moved back suddenly. With a scream from the Sonder champion, he turned over and crawled under the conference table, then was kicked out by Yifeng. This guy slid along the ground, knocked down the four bosses who had just surrounded Yifeng, and finally fell at the door and tripped the three people guarding the door. The room was in chaos, with people complaining in pain. Zhu Ruida couldn't roar anymore. He paid the Sonder champion 100,000 a month, but he was knocked to the ground by Yifeng with one move. Is this champion made of paper? Qin Xuanbing's eyebrows raised. She really didn't expect that Yifeng, this useless gigolo, actually knew kung fu. Old Mrs. Su held the whip and widened her eyes. This was the first time she saw Yifeng so powerful. The other members of the Su family looked at each other in astonishment, rubbing their eyes violently, as if they had seen a ghost. How come Yifeng, their househusband who used to only know how to clean, has become such a good fighter? Even the Sonder champion is no match for him, so why did he always give in the past? The most surprised among them was Su Nanzhi. Her surprised gaze kept moving over Yifeng, and it was the first time in 3 years that she seriously examined this man. He didn't just show off some kung fu skills, he became different. He is like a sharp sword, with an extremely powerful aura. Su Nanzhi, do you still remember? That year you got into trouble and were beaten by Grandma. I took the 100 lashes for you. Yifeng stared at Su Nanzhi and asked, I'm going to be beaten now. Are you willing to take the 100 lashes for me? When he loved Su Nanzhi, he was willing to be beaten for her and willing to give everything for her. Now that he doesn't love her anymore, Su Nanzhi should return the beating she once gave him. Su Nanzhi was speechless for a moment. How could she not remember the punishment that Yifeng received for him? That day, Yifeng not only didn't say a word, but also told jokes and made faces to make her happy. 100 whips were lashed fiercely on Yifeng's body, leaving blood marks all over his back, buttocks and legs. Yifeng's clothes were torn to pieces, and the clothes and wounds were stuck together. Afterwards, Su Nanzhi asked Yifeng, don't you feel any pain? Yifeng replied, for you, I would be willing to bear even 1,000 lashes, not to mention 100. Yifeng also said, I have love for you in my heart, and this is the most powerful force in the world. Right now. When Yifeng asked Su Nanzhi, are you willing to take these 100 whips for me? Su Nanzhi was speechless. That says it all. She didn't have Yifeng in her heart at all. Then let me put it another way. You return the 100 lashes I took for you. This request doesn't seem too much, does it? Yifeng stared at Su Nanzhi with burning eyes and said, I. Su Nanzhi was speechless for a moment. You owe me this. I want you to pay it back now. Don't you, Su Nanzhi, always claim that you never owe anyone a favor? So why don't you pay it back? Yifeng raised his voice and asked loudly. Su Nanzhi lowered her head in shame and fell into unprecedented panic. Qin Xianbing was so angry that she spoke up to help Su Nanzhi out. You let a woman take the whip for you, are you considered a man? That's right. This is your fault. Why should Nanzhi take the whipping for you? Old Mrs. Su came to her senses, said something angrily, rushed to Yifeng with a whip, and hit him with a snap. She was an old lady in her 70s and she absolutely did not believe that Yifeng would dare to use force against her. This is the Su family's famous company. Old Mrs. Su must get back at them today. Chapter 14. Now I don't love her anymore, you are just a piece of shit in my eyes. Although the old lady's whip was very fast, Yifeng still caught it easily. Bang! With a crisp sound, the whip wrapped around Yifeng's hand, then bounced back and hit old Lady Su on the head. Arr! My head! Ouch ouch ouch! Old Mrs. Su screamed in pain. Yifeng, you dare to hit my mother? You beast, I will fight you. Su Hongguang, the eldest son of the Su family, rushed up cursing. You son of a bitch, you even beat up an old man, you are lawless beast. The remaining children of the Su family rushed forward. At this time, the children of the Su family must show their loyalty to the old lady. She holds great power in the company and even owns a courtyard house worth tens of millions. It's a pity that they are powerless. Even the Sunder champion is no match for Yifeng. All these children of the Su family are just fancy moves. Yifeng snatched the whip from old lady Su and started swinging it. The first whip hit Su Hongguang's bald head. After a whip was applied, a red mark instantly appeared in the middle of Su Hongguang's Mediterranean head. Ouch, that hurts so much. Su Hongguang covered his head and howled. The second whip was on the pointed and monkey-cheeked face of the second son of the Su family. With a slapping sound, Su Lao's nose felt sore and tears came out. The third whip, Kuan of the third son of the Su family. The sound was very clear. The guy squatted down with his hands covering his crotch and his facial features distorted. He was in so much pain that he couldn't even scream. The fourth whip, the stinky mouths of the 4 girls of the Su family. The Su family has 3 sons and 1 daughter. The 4th daughter married a local man who has the foulest mouth. Even at this moment, she was still swearing at everything, saying all sorts of nasty things. After being hit with a whip, the 4th daughter of the Su family could no longer curse. The 5th whip, Su Shefei's fake thunder. Yifeng's whip almost broke her to pieces. The 6th whip, the 7th whip. Every child of the Su family was whipped by Yifeng. Yifeng enjoyed the beating, but the Su family was beaten badly. A group of people beat up Yifeng alone, but not only did they not gain any advantage, but each of them was whipped. It was really embarrassing in front of Qin Xianbing and the company's partners. Yifeng, that's enough. Amid the Su family members screaming in pain, Su Nanzhi could no longer hold back and roared. She slammed the table and stood up, then quickly walked to Yifeng, pointed at the family members around her who were complaining, and angrily rebuked Yifeng. These people have been with you day and night for 3 years, and most of them are your elders. Do you still have any manners in your eyes? If you are angry with me, then come at me, don't involve my family. You know a little bit of kung fu and you want to bully others. This is all you are capable of. I, Su Nanzhi, look down on you. After saying that, she supported her grandmother and went back. But old Mrs. Su couldn't save face, so she shook off Su Nanzhi's hand, ran back, picked up her cane on the corner of the table, and smashed it fiercely on Yifeng's head. You son of a bitch, I'll beat you to death. Old Mrs. Su was furious. Her walking stick was made of fine jujube wood and was very hard. If this crutch hits Yifeng on the head, he will most likely have to go to the hospital, suffering a concussion at the mildest and a cerebral hemorrhage at the worst. Yifeng's face turned cold. He dodged sideways and lashed out with the whip in his hand. Su Nanzhi, you saw it all. This is the grandma you tried so hard to protect. When she hit me just now, I just held the whip and she got hit because of the rebound. And now, she's going to beat me to death with her cane. As soon as Yifeng finished speaking, the whip fell. Old Mrs. Su was definitely picked. The long whip extended from the face to the upper body, beating the old lady to tears on the spot. She squatted on the ground, covered her face and started throwing a tantrum. Ouch, ouch, someone's murdered. Hurry up and call the police. Yifeng, that damn bastard, beat up an old man. I'm going to find a lawyer to sue him and bankrupt him. Old Mrs. Su was the first to complain. Bang! Yifeng whipped the whip again and said in a cold voice, Old woman, remember this, when I liked your granddaughter, you were the elder I respected, and you, the Su family, were not worthy of my accommodation and tolerance. Now I don't love her anymore. You are just a piece of shit in my eyes, and you Su family members are maggots in the shit. Don't throw a tantrum at me here. I used to tolerate everything, but now don't even think about touching a hair on my head. Today I am only teaching you and the Su family a lesson. If you dare to offend me again, I will make your family live in unrest. Yifeng's cold-blooded words completely stunned old Mrs. Su, and the Su family members around her were also stunned. Is this still the humble Yifeng of the past? They really didn't understand how Yifeng became so fierce and domineering. What kind of identity supports him to dare to speak to the Su family like this? Humph, who doesn't know how to say something cruel? Qin Xianbing once again stood up to protect the Su family. Don't you just know a little bit of kung fu? The Sunder champion is no match for you. I will pay for a master or even a killer. I want to see how you, Yifeng, respond. Qin Xianbing continued disapprovingly, Nanzhi, divorce Yifeng immediately. I will use my connections to make it difficult for him to survive in Jiangbei City. Su Nanzhi was already angry, and now she was even more indignant. She took out the divorce agreement that Yifeng had left at home and signed her name on it in front of him. Afterwards, she slammed the table in front of Yi Feng and shouted angrily, "Remember Yi Feng, I don't want you. I have never liked you. Sign your name and get out of the Su family company immediately. I will definitely hold you accountable for beating my family today." His younger brother Su Yuhao was beaten by Yi Feng, and his grandmother and the Su family were also beaten by Yi Feng. Su Nanzhi hated Yi Feng to death. This man was a complete villain. Just because of what happened last night, he was so angry that he didn't go home all night. Not satisfied with going to find the internal model, he turned around and started to take revenge on the Su family. What's the use of a man like this? Su Nanzhi became angrier and angrier, and couldn't help but continue, "I only now recognize your true face. You were just pretending to be so tolerant. Men like you are the most hidden domestic violence men. Fortunately, I divorced you quickly, otherwise I would have been cut into pieces and hidden in the refrigerator by you. Wow, so this is what I am like in your heart." Yi Feng smiled bitterly and shook his head. "Sign it quickly, I don't want to waste time talking to you." Su Nanzhi crossed her arms and scolded impatiently. Yi Feng picked up the pen and wrote something. He threw the pen, pointed at Qin Xianbing and said to Su Nanzhi, "Do you really think that you can get the big order of Jinxiu Mingzhu by relying on this woman? I tell you, Su Nanzhi, you and everyone present today will never make a penny from Jinxiu Mingzhu." After saying this domineeringly, he patted Su Nanzhi's shoulder again and added with a smile, "From today on, your Su family will have nightmares one after another. I say, even Jesus can't save you." Afterwards, Yi Feng walked out with his hands behind his back. "Wait a moment." Qin Xianbing stood up and called Yi Feng to stop him, saying sternly, "I also want to tell you something. From the moment you step out of this door, you will never have a peaceful day in Jiangbei City." Qin Xianbing, said that even Jesus can't save you. She also spoke in a domineering manner, confronting Yi Feng head on. Chapter 15, Fight back and make it impossible for them to survive in Jiangbei City. Har har har. Yi Feng laughed so hard that he fell backwards. "This Qin Xianbing is so funny. You don't believe it? Very good, you succeeded in irritating me." Qin Xuanbing's face turned pale and she immediately took out her cell phone and made a call. She just flew from Jinghai to Jiangbei City yesterday. According to the transfer order from the head office Hongye Chamber of Commerce, Qin Xianbing is serving as the Deputy Director of Project Operations in Jinxiu Mingzhu Industrial Group. The real director and president is not him, but Yi Feng, who is about to take office. So, under the premise that Wanlong Group was responsible for the Jinxiu project on behalf of Yi Feng's father in the early stage, the person Qin Xianbing had to contact could only be Lu Wanlong, the black tycoon of Jiangbei City. "Master Lu, help me punish this person, and I will send you his photo and name later," Qin Xianbing said directly after getting through the call. Lu Wanlong's Wanlong Chamber of Commerce is a branch of the Hongye Chamber of Commerce. Since Qin Xianbing came to work in Jiangbei City, his position level is almost the same as Lu Wanlong's. So, she had to call him Master Lu. "Okay, how serious will the punishment be?" Lu Wanlong asked calmly. "Banned him and made sure he had no place to stay in Jiangbei City." Qin Xianbing spoke into the phone with a fierce look on her face. "It's a small matter," Lu Wanlong replied with 4 words and hung up the phone. However, he had no idea that the person Qin Xianbing wanted him to punish would be Yi Feng, the eldest master of the Yi family. As for Qin Xianbing, she just arrived in Jiangbei City yesterday afternoon and had not yet had the chance to meet Yi Feng, the general manager of Jinxiu Mingzhu, under Lu Wanlong's introduction. According to Lu Wanlong's arrangement, tomorrow morning is the day when several core senior executives will officially hand over the Jinxiu Mingzhu Commercial Street project. At that time, Yi Feng will redetermine the management team. Qin Xianbing hung up the phone, and Zhu Ruida and the other 6 jumped out again. "I declare that from today on, I, Zhu Ruida, will use all my connections to ban Yi Feng, that bastard. From now on, he will be a rat crossing the street that everyone in Jiangbei City will shout and beat. He won't even be able to be a beggar," Zhu Ruida said viciously. "I'm following this with Shenyang Catering. From now on, all my chain restaurants in Jiangbei City will hang a sign saying Yi Feng and dogs are not allowed to enter." The restaurant owner summoned by the Su family echoed sternly. "And I. The bosses of the remaining industries all expressed their opinions. Yi Feng was not allowed to enter any store in the industry they were involved in, nor was he allowed to apply for a job. Yi Feng clapped his hands and cheered, then took out his cell phone and took pictures of the bosses one by one. Feng couldn't remember the names of these idiots at all, so he took a photo and sent it to Lu Wanlong, asking him to bring people to deal with them one by one. You're still in the mood to take pictures. What's wrong? Are you trying to take revenge on us? Zhu Ruidar said with a look of disdain. Feng, you asked for this. You deserve this for messing with our Su family. Mr. Yi, you don't even have a chance to run away. Once you step out of this door, your critical strike will begin immediately. Get out of here, you stinky piece of shit. Old Mrs. Su and other members of the Su family started cursing. Goodbye everyone, please take care of yourself. Feng put away his phone and left in style. After leaving Si Haiming and company, Yuxing was waiting for Feng in the parking lot. Seeing him coming, he immediately went up to him and asked with concern, "Are you okay, master? What can I do? Since you are here, I won't call Xiaolu. Just deal with these people directly. I will send their photos to your phone." Feng got in the car and gave a simple instruction. "Master, may I ask to what extent the matter has been handled?" Yuxing asked. "Let them have no chance of survival in Jiangbei City." Of course Feng retaliated. Understood. Yuxing nodded and accepted the order. As for Qin Xianbing, Feng wanted to call his father to find out why he sent such a blind and pretentious person. "Drive to a shopping mall so I can buy some clothes." Feng signaled Yuxing to drive, and then called his father. He will take up his new position at Jinqiu Mingzhu Industrial Group tomorrow. When Feng left home last night, he didn't take any luggage with him. Since he decided to concentrate on the commercial street project, he naturally had to dress up from the inside out. "Dad, what's going on with you? Why didn't you tell me before you transferred Qin Xianbing over here?" Feng asked directly after getting through the call. "You know everything." Father Yi asked back. "What do I know? That pretentious young woman doesn't even know who I am. She's an idiot who doesn't even make a plan when she goes out to work. Did you send her to make fun of me?" Feng said unhappily. "Erzer, don't think like that. Qin Xianbing is not a fool. She has strong business ability and her identity is not simple." Unexpectedly, Yi Baichuan gave such an evaluation. "Narni? Are you drunk?" Feng looked puzzled. "Xiao Feng, do you still remember the marriage contract your family arranged for you when you were a child?" Yi Baichuan suddenly asked. "Remember, isn't it the girl from the Chu family? Her name is Chu Liuxian, right? Her father is the president of the Truman Chamber of Commerce. He is both your enemy and friend. You two are college alumni, and you are brothers from the same school under the same mentor." Feng replied. "Qin Xianbing is Chu Liuxian's stepmother. She used to be the lover of the president of the Chumen Chamber of Commerce. Now the two have broken up and she has turned to our Hongye Chamber of Commerce. So, I took the opportunity to send her to Jiangbei City. On the one hand, I wanted to test whether she had any ulterior motives. On the other hand, I wanted to use her to ease the relationship between you and Liu Rui. You may not know that when you broke up with your family and married Su Nanzhi, you ruined your engagement with that girl Liu Lai. She holds a grudge and has threatened to take revenge on you. Son, this is all Dad can do for you. The rest is up to you." Yi Baichuan gave some serious instructions and hung up the phone. Feng was in a mess, holding the phone. Not to mention the sudden appearance of Qin Xianbing, Feng still had some understanding of the girl Chu Liuqin. The two were betrothed to each other when they were babies. Feng's father and Chu Liuqin's father got drunk and made the engagement. When Feng was a child, he didn't understand much about that girl. He always felt that she had a very unique personality and was very domineering when it came to the things she liked. When he grew up, Feng realized that a woman with this kind of personality is called a yander. What is a yander girl? Simply put, it is an unhealthy mental illness, in which deformed love leads to a pathological and distorted psychology. The possessiveness of a yander girl is very strong, and she often does extreme things that are beyond the comprehension of ordinary people. Feng had rarely seen Chu Liuluo since he married Su Nanzhi. Now, after his father reminded him that she had threatened to take revenge on him, he finally woke up and remembered the several unexpected encounters he had had in the past 3 years. It's not that this girl didn't take revenge. It's clear that she never stopped doing so in the past 3 years. For example, on the day Feng and Su Nanzhi got married, not only did Feng have diarrhea all night, but the bride, Su Nanzhi, suddenly had her period that night. Chapter 16, Just for Words, No Comment. Apart from the unfortunate events on the wedding night, bad luck like a flat tire on their way to work, dead cats and dogs dumped at the door, etc., has become commonplace in the past 3 years. So much so that later Feng and Nanzhi went to the temple to worship, and then invited a Taoist monk to come to their home to check the feng shui. For this reason, the Su family scolded Feng a lot. She called him a jinx and firmly believed that it was a mistake for Nanzhi to marry him. She kept persuading Nanzhi to divorce Feng as soon as possible behind his back. Thinking about it now, Feng couldn't help but feel a chill on his back. If all this was done by that sickly girl Chuliuxian, then she must have hidden it too well. He is omnipresent and even more powerful than a special agent. However, Feng still couldn't understand his father's explanation on the phone. Why could Qin Xianbing calm down Chuliuxian? Qin Xianbing has broken up with Chuliuqian's father. Without the stepmother relationship, this sickly girl Chuliuqian may not listen to her. After much thought, Feng decided to ask Qin Xianbing after he started work at the company tomorrow. Of course, Feng is more looking forward to Qin Xuanbing's expression when she sees him at Jinshu Mingzhu tomorrow. She was so pretentious in Sihai Mingyang company just now. Feng wanted to see how this pretentious young woman would end up. It was late in the evening. A restaurant opposite the Su family company. Everyone gathered here. Su Nanzhi invited Qin Xianbing, a brilliant general manager, and the Su family company's reputation rose rapidly. If Zhu Ruida and his people want to get a piece of the pie from Jinshu Mingzhu, they must cling tightly to the Su family and Qin Xianbing. But Qin Xianbing simply ate a few bites and left, asking Su Nanzhi to go to Jinshu Mingzhu tomorrow morning. She will help introduce the person in charge of this project, who is also the president of Jinshu Mingzhu Industrial Group. Old Mrs. Su and the Su family sent Qin Xianbing to their hotel entrance, and Su Nanzhi even opened the car door for her personally. After watching Qin Xuanbing's car leave, the group returned to their hotel to continue celebrating. Suddenly, a man ran over from the opposite side of the hotel. He was the secretary of Su Hongguang, the eldest son of the Su family. Vice President Su, something big has happened. Our company's construction material partners have called one after another and are cancelling their supply cooperation starting from the fourth quarter. Secretary Xiao Li reported in a panic. The Su family's Sihai Mingyang company has two main businesses, building materials and decoration design. There are many brands of building materials that we distribute, about a dozen. It is now late September and National Day is coming soon. According to the normal cooperation process, the fourth quarter distribution contract should be signed at the end of September. At this critical juncture, suppliers of building materials are cancelling cooperation one after another. Who can bear this? Sihai Mingyang does not have its own factory to produce building materials. Once they are out of stock, what will they sell? Especially since they were about to rely on Qin Xuanbing's relationship to win a large order for Jinshu Mingzhu, and the sudden shortage of stock at this time would be the end of the Su family's life. Secretary Li, did they tell me the specific reason? It's so strange that they suddenly cancelled the cooperation. Su Hongguang asked anxiously. I'm also surprised. We at Sihai Mingyang have been cooperating with them for 3 years and nothing like this has ever happened. For this reason, I asked every supplier who called me, and they just said, no comment. Secretary Li replied with a sad face. Damn it, these suppliers are crazy. They suddenly ran out of stock and cancelled the cooperation at this critical moment. It's obvious that they did it on purpose. Su Hongguang said cursingly. He had reason to doubt whether these suppliers were all concentrating on winning the big orders from Jinshu Mingzhu Commercial Street. But on second thought, suppliers of building materials cannot approach Jinshu Mingzhu alone to discuss cooperation. They just need to sell the building materials to construction companies. Don't panic yet. One of our company's suppliers is called Juyehua. As long as they don't cancel the cooperation, we won't collapse. Old Mrs. Su said calmly. Juyehua has many items of building materials, which dominate the entire northern market and are extremely famous. All the Su family members present knew that Juyehua had offered the lowest cooperation price to Sihai Mingyang, and the cooperation over the past 3 years had been very worry-free. Juyehua is fully capable of outperforming other brands of building materials and ensuring that the Su family will not run out of stock. However, Secretary Li said, Madam, the first one to call us to cancel the cooperation was Juyehua. Their person in charge also said that they had been losing money for 3 years and they had had enough. What? Old Mrs. Su almost fainted. The Juyehua, whom she trusted the most and had the highest hopes in, actually refused to cooperate. What should Sai Hai Ming Yan do about this? Secretary Li, you are not mistaken, Juyehua is our most loyal partner. They have never had any quarrels with us, Si Hai Ming Yan. Why would they suddenly stop cooperating? Su Nanzhi was confused. I said I don't want to do business at a loss anymore. Secretary Li spread his hands helplessly. Little did people know that the boss behind Juyehua was Yi Feng's father Yi Baichuan. In order to support the Su family, Yi Baichuan did not hesitate to invest in Juyehua, allowing it to support the world without making a single cent of profit. But after 3 years of losing money, what he got in return was such an attitude from the Su family. Of course, Yi Baichuan had to ask Juyehua to cancel the cooperation. How could the beloved son of this business godfather have ever suffered such injustice? The Su family is unable to recognize the true dragon in the world and are simply a group of blind pigs. Let's go back to the company first and call a meeting of the heads of each department to discuss and research the search for new suppliers of building materials. Su Hongguan calmed himself down and gave instructions to Secretary Li. The company suddenly received such bad news, how could the Su family still have the mood to eat? Unexpectedly, after Secretary Li, another person ran over from across the street. Oh no! Professor Zheng, our company's chief designer, has submitted his resignation. The person who came to deliver the message was Su Nanzhi's secretary, who worked in the decoration design department. This news is far more important than the supplier cancelling the cooperation. Professor Zheng is like a stabilizing force for Si Hai Ming Yan. She is the chief designer of the decoration, and almost all the people in the design department are her disciples. It is conceivable that the departure of Professor Zheng will also shake the morale of his students. Secretary Shu, has Professor Zheng left? Su Nanzhi asked quickly. I'm packing up now. I just delivered my resignation letter to your desk. Manager Su, please go and persuade him. Secretary Shu said in panic. Su Nanzhi ran away. This is really life-threatening. If Professor Zheng is gone, what will happen to the decoration design of Jinshu Mingzhu? Her professional level is top-notch not only in the whole Jiangbei area, but also in the whole country. Hurry up, let's go and leave Professor Zheng to me. Old Mrs. Su also realized the seriousness of the problem and gathered the Su family to rush to the company. Chapter 17 I have someone I love, let us part ways in peace. The design department of a famous company all over the world. Su Nanzhi rushed over, sweating profusely, and rushed to Professor Zheng's office, asking anxiously, Professor Zheng, what happened? Why do you want to resign? Many designers in the design department put down their work and were also puzzled by Professor Zheng's sudden resignation. Si Hai Ming Yang pays Professor Zheng the highest salary in the company, and this top designer has been working diligently for 3 years. There have never been any problems with the orders she designed, and all her customers have given her positive reviews. If she leaves, there will be a massive loss of famous clients. Don't disturb other people's work, close the door. Professor Zheng put the last item into the box and raised his hand to signal. Su Nanzhi went to close the door obediently. At this time, old Mrs. Su and the others also ran back to the company. Grandma, please wait outside. I want to have a good talk with Professor Zheng. Su Nanzhi took a deep breath and said. She knew that Professor Zheng didn't like making noise. This office is soundproof to provide her with a quiet creative environment. Nanzhi, you must keep Professor Zheng. I'll give you the power. No matter what Professor Zheng wants, satisfy her. Old Mrs. Su said seriously. Okay, Grandma. Su Nanzhi nodded, closed the door, and quickly walked to the sofa opposite Professor Zheng and sat down. Professor Zheng. Xiaosu, I have never really belonged to your Sai Hai Ming Yan. As soon as Su Nanzhi opened her mouth, she was interrupted by Professor Zheng, who raised his hand and said something that shocked and confused her. What do you mean? I don't understand. Su Nanzhi shook her head blankly. In other words, I came to see Hai Minglang because someone asked me to do so. Professor Zheng said calmly, so no matter how you try to persuade me to stay, I will not continue working here. Su Nanzhi was even more shocked. Professor Zheng, can you tell me who asked you to come to see Hai Mingyan? The other party has said this much, how could Su Nanzhi not understand? Professor Zheng is not famous all over the world. 3 years ago, she took the initiative to apply for the position of a world-famous designer, and Su Nanzhi got a great bargain. She still remembers the situation at that time. At that time, Si Haiming was not outstanding in the field of decoration design, and no one in the company would have thought that Professor Zheng would condescend to work in such a small temple as Si Haiming. Based on her woman's intuition, Nanzhi thought that Professor Zheng might have encountered some emotional problems, so she left her sad place and found a company to start a new life. Professor Zheng's original name was Feng. Although she is only 40 years old, her knowledge and professional level are much better than those of the old designer Mrs. Su. He has studied abroad and is a postdoctoral fellow. Because of his introverted personality, he is still single at the age of 40. She was in her 20s and had already made a name for herself in the design field while still in school. His knowledge and abilities are not limited to decoration design, but also involve fields such as bridges, tunnels, clothing, etc. He is definitely an all-round talent. At that time, Si Haiming could only offer an annual salary of 1.3 million, but Feng agreed without even thinking about it. With her joining, Si Haiming became famous overnight. With more and more orders for decoration design, the company's market value has increased by leaps and bounds. The entire Su family has to thank Feng. It is no exaggeration to say that she is the breadwinner of the Su family. Professor Zheng, please tell me who entrusted you to this mission. I will go visit him right now. No matter how much it costs, I will get you back from that person. Nanzhi said very seriously. Feng laughed. Xiaosu, forgive me for being blunt, I'm not trying to hurt you and Si Haiming, but even if you sell the company, you won't get even 1% of what they get. I have someone I love, so let's just part ways in peace. At one point, Nanzhi felt that there was something wrong with her ears. What does it mean that even if you sell the company, the profit is less than 1/10 of others? Si Haiming is now considered a large enterprise in Jiangbei City, with a market value of at least 10 billion. If one is not even 1% as good as the other, what kind of business Buddha would that be? A multi-billionaire? I don't believe it. Something must have happened to you. Professor Zheng, we have been together for 3 years, there should be some affection between us. Is this okay? I'll double your annual salary. In addition to the annual salary, if you have any other requests, just let me know. I'll agree to them unconditionally. Nanzhi patted his chest and promised. First of all, I have money. Secondly, the reason I can tell you so much is purely out of personal feelings. Finally, I hope you, Mr. Su, will cherish the people around you more. After Feng finished speaking, she stood up and walked out carrying the box. Sister Zheng, I beg you, don't leave. Nanzhi was so anxious that she started to cry. She grabbed Feng's hand and said with tears in her eyes, Can I kneel down for you? Without you, Si Haiming will really collapse. Boss Su, I don't owe you anything, and I don't owe you anything either. Just take care of yourself. Feng ruthlessly shook off Nanzhi's hand and walked out with big strides. Outside, old Mrs. Su and others were waiting anxiously. When they saw Feng coming out, they immediately surrounded her. But before they could ask her to stay, Feng said to the designers who had stood up, Teacher usually likes quietness the most. If they want to stop me, please send me off. Thank you. Don't disturb Teacher Zheng. A designer grabbed a wireless keyboard and rushed over. Then, more than a dozen designers and assistants all ran over to clear their way and escort Feng. There was no way to stop old lady Su and the others, and they were all pushed all over the place. Feng, I'll let you go, but you are not allowed to persuade the remaining designers to resign with you, otherwise I will sue you in court. Humph, do you think the world will stop spinning without you? I'm famous all over the world and have plenty of money now. I can hire a designer who's better than you in a matter of minutes. Old Mrs. Su was furious and yelled at the top of her voice. Nanzhi tried her best to keep her, and even gave her the power to unconditionally agree to any request of Feng. But this damn woman just won tea by it. Doesn't the old lady have any face? You, Feng, have high professional capabilities, but you are not the only designer in the world. I gave you the honor but you don't behave properly. You are making the company a mess. What are you thinking? Old Mrs. Su became angrier and angrier as she spoke, and she wanted to rush up and beat Feng up. Har har, I just wanted to leave quietly, but I didn't expect you to turn the tables on me. In that case, I will go back to Huogua Mountain and make trouble for him. Feng stood at the elevator door, raised one hand slowly, and shouted calmly, Hold the gun, follow me. Chapter 18 Boss, don't do this, something big has happened. Zheng Peifang gave an order. All the world-famous designers and assistants shouted in unison, "We want to resign and follow Teacher Zheng." You? Old Mrs. Su's eyes went dark and she fainted on the spot. Mom. Grandmother. Old lady. The Su family was in chaos on the spot. Su Nanzhi looked at the chaotic scene and squatted down, grabbing his head in frustration. She was wondering what Zheng Peifang meant by cherishing the people around you. Aren't the people around her members of the Su family? Or Qin Beishan? But what does this have to do with Zheng Peifang's resignation? Su Nanzhi would never think of Yi Feng. The other side. Their hotel opposite the Sihai Mingyang company. Zhu Ruida and his friends were also drinking and celebrating here. If something went wrong within the Su family company, they couldn't help. But because they supported the Su family and Qin Xianbing in punishing Yi Feng today, Zhu Ruida and the other 6 people unanimously believed that they had clung to the other party's thighs. Then the orders to Jinshu Mingzhu Commercial Street are almost certain to be secured. Everyone is in high spirits and drinks to their heart's content. Brothers, from now on, we must work together to surpass Wanlong Group and occupy the other half of Jiangbei City. Zhu Ruida raised his wine glass and shouted out bold words. Cheers! The 6 people clinked their glasses. However, at this moment, the door of the private room was pushed open and Zhu Ruida's driver and secretary ran in. She was about to lean over to Zhu Ruida's ear to say something, but Zhu Ruida was so drunk that he hugged the female secretary onto his lap. Xiaomai, we are all here together, just speak freely. Zhu Ruida was drunk and did not forget to touch her. Boss, stop it, something bad has happened. The female secretary named Feng Xiaomai adjusted her glasses and said, I just received a call from the company. A group of people suddenly came to our Ruida logistics. They are from multiple departments to conduct a joint inspection. There are tax inspectors, the Commerce and Industry Department, the Environmental Protection Department, and even the Banking Regulatory Department. What? Zhu Ruida put Xiaomai down and jumped up, sobered up by the fright. His logistics company cannot withstand a thorough investigation by so many departments, and something is bound to happen. Old Zhu, you must have offended someone and been reported. The owner of Shinya Restaurant said nonchalantly, don't panic, think carefully about who you have offended recently, and then spend some money to fix it. That's right, spending money to avoid disaster is no big deal. Come on, let's continue drinking. The others didn't take it seriously. These days, money makes the world go round. Those departments were given tasks by their superiors and they were just looking for trouble because they were short of money. Unexpectedly, another person ran into the private room. He was the secretary of the owner of Shinya Restaurant. He shouted, Boss, all our stores have just been visited by the Commerce and Industry Department, the Market Supervision Bureau, and the Health Department. The kitchen hygiene is seriously substandard, so all our stores have been closed. What the hell? The owner of Shinya Restaurant fell off his chair. Before he could get up and run out, the cell phones of the remaining 4 bosses rang almost at the same time. Without a doubt, Yi Feng began his tit-for-tat punishment. Zhu Ruida and his men dared to collude with the Su family and made it impossible for Yi Feng to survive in Jiangbei City. So, the nightmare of these 6 people began here. Jiangbei Hengfu Plaza. Yuxin was waiting for Yi Feng in the parking lot downstairs, and by the way, he called to arrange for people to punish Zhu Ruida and the others. The initial results have been reported back by me, but I still have a plan to follow. What awaits Zhu Ruida and his men will be a devastating blow. There will be no place for them in Jiangbei City anymore. Just as they said to Yi Feng, it's not okay to be a beggar. Ding tilde. At this time, Yuxing received a message on WeChat. It was sent by my eldest daughter Lu Caiwei. Yuxin, my dad said that you will work with Master Yi in the future. Where is he now? Yuxing replied truthfully, we are at Hengfu Plaza, Mr. Yi has gone upstairs to buy his clothes. Damn it, why didn't you tell me that Master Yi was buying clothes? Keep an eye on him, I'll be there soon. Lu Caiwei was coming over to choose clothes for Yi Feng and pay the bill. She wanted to give Yi Feng a set of handsome outfit. Yuxin replied with an okay gesture, put away his phone and couldn't help but sigh, girls can't be kept when they grow up. He started working with Lu Wanlong when he was very young. He is nearly 10 years older than Lu Caiwei and has long treated the eldest lady as his own sister. Lu Caiwei has always been aloof, and there are very few men who can make her take notice. With Yifeng's appearance, Lu Caiwei really changed. Inside Hengfu Plaza, Yifeng was waiting in line at the checkout counter, carrying a lot of bags. A man and a woman came out of a small cold drink shop nearby. The girl was dressed seductively, and she exuded a coquettish feeling. She deliberately licked the ice cream in front of the man next to her, and her sexy little mouth covered with lipstick opened and closed, showing a very positive look to the man. "Of course, your technique is amazing. Can I try it?" the man asked in a low voice with burning eyes. "What technology? I don't understand." The girl named Ran pretended to be dumbfounded, then took the man's arm affectionately and said in a coquettish voice, "Brother Kuan, I want a bag. Can I go buy it now?" "Sure, but after I buy you the bag, you have to let me have an abalone dinner." Brother Kuan took the opportunity to propose conditions. Ran shyly hit Brother Kuan. Just as she was about to speak, she glanced at Yifeng across from her and immediately shouted, "Fuck, Yifeng." This Ran was none other than Jiang Ran, who sent Nanzhi the photo of Yifeng looking for an internal model last night, and who is also Nanzhi's best friend. "Yifeng, you cheating man, are you fucking worthy of my best friend?" Jiang Ran rushed to Yifeng in a few steps, grabbed a clothes bag and hit him hard. "The Su family provides you with food and clothing, but you married my best friend, such a beautiful wife, and you are still not satisfied. You damn scum, I will beat you to death." Jiang Ran became angrier and angrier as she scolded him, and she raised her stiletto heels to kick Yifeng. "Get out of here, you lunatic." Yifeng lightly moved aside while holding the things in his hand. Jiang Ran kicked in vain and fell to the ground because he kicked too hard. Yifeng has had many contacts with this woman named Jiang Ran. Relying on her best friend status with Nanzhi, she treated Yifeng as a free repairman. When her toilet was clogged, she asked Yifeng to unclog it. When the light was broken, she asked him to fix it. When she wanted to have a midnight snack, she would call Yifeng to buy it and send it to him. Sometimes Jiang Ran would spend the night at Nanzhi's house, making her home look like a garbage dump. Don't be fooled by her glamorous appearance. Yifeng knows very well that this woman is very unhygienic. Not only does she only change her underwear once every few days, she also has smelly feet and body odor, and she has to spray a lot of perfume on herself every time she goes out. Jiang Ran's private life is not very decent. She has several backups, and she has a different one every day of the week. Yifeng tried to persuade Nanzhi to break up her friendship with Jiang Ran countless times, but this woman was very good at pretending and managed to fool Nanzhi around. Chapter 19, You, a stinky thief, will lose all face. Nanzhi just thinks Jiang Ran is a good person, so every time Yifeng tried to persuade her, he was met with Nanzhi's disgust and scolding, saying that he had bad intentions and was trying to sow discord among his friends. As time went by, Yifeng became too lazy to persuade her anymore. With Nanzhi as her backer, Jiang Ran became even more aggressive in ordering Yifeng around. She even treated Yifeng less as a human being than the Su family did. But now, Yifeng has divorced Nanzhi, and he will definitely not indulge Jiang Ran, this bitch, anymore. Jiang Ran kicked Yifeng with her high-heeled shoes, and the kick missed and he did a big split on the spot. The pencil pants she was wearing were a bit tight and seemed to be of poor quality. They tore apart directly when she split her legs. With a rustling sound, Jiang Ran suddenly felt a chill on the hem of her clothes. She had a bad feeling, and when she looked down she felt so ashamed. There were so many people queuing up to pay at the checkout counter that the men were all staring in amazement. Jiang Ran's interior was very bold, it was actually a thong. This woman also likes to weed, and the scenery is quite beautiful. Brother Kuan. The long clip sound with a hint of crying. Jiang Ran opened his mouth and called Brother Kuan for help. Brother Kuan's real name is Ju Ikuan. He quickly took off his coat and handed it to Jiang Ran. Jiang Ran did the splits so loudly just now, and Ju Ikuan had a better angle than those people waiting in line to pay, so he could see it all. Ju Ikuan never thought that Jiang Ran's interior was so open. He wanted to kill this slut right away. What are you looking at? Get the hell out of here. Ju Ikuan yelled at the onlookers. You want others to peek at the beautiful clams you caught yourself. Seeing Ju Ikuan being so arrogant, and seeing that Jiang Ran had already wrapped her butt and lower body with Ju Ikuan's coat, everyone lost interest in watching. At this time, 2 security guards from Hengfu Plaza ran over. But both of them knew Zhu Yiquan, and they immediately turned into flatterers and came forward to show concern. "Mr. Zhu, is there anything I can help you with? Mr. Zhu, your girlfriend is so beautiful." The two security guards were not shouting nonsense. Zhu Yiquan's father runs a logistics company. His father's name is Zhu Rueda, and he is very famous in Jiangbei City. That's right, Zhu Yiquan's father was Zhu Rueda, who had just supported the Su family and Qin Xianbing in punishing Yi Feng. "Of course, tell me, how should we deal with this kid?" Zhu Yiquan hugged Jiang Ranran, looking very proud. "Brother Kuan, this bastard is called Yi Feng, and he is my best friend's husband. He doesn't make a penny and has always been a house husband at home. I photographed him going to Wanlong Holiday Villa to look for an internal model last night, and now he's coming to Hengfu Plaza to shop. He must have stolen my bestie's money. So, I have to help my bestie get the money back." Jiang Ranran introduced Yi Feng to Zhu Yiquan and mentioned her requirements. "Oh shit, being a gigolo isn't enough, he's also a fucking thief. I hate this kind of dirty social parasite the most. Don't worry, Brother Kuan will help you deal with him." Zhu Yiquan patted his chest and said to Jiang Ranran, then ordered two security guards to go up and hold Yi Feng down. "You bastard, you dare to call me a psychopath? I will strip you naked and parade you through the streets today. I will make you, a stinking thief, lose all face," Jiang Ranran said viciously. "Stripped and paraded through the streets?" A fierce look flashed in Yi Feng's eyes. If Jiang Ranran hadn't told him that she had secretly taken photos at Wanlong Resort Villa last night, Yi Feng wouldn't have known that she was the one who informed Su Nanzhi. No wonder the Su family said that he cheated first. After all this time, it turned out that it was Jiang Ranran who was behind it. In the past, Yi Feng didn't bother to deal with this green tea bitch, but now he wants to settle both old and new accounts together. "If you two don't want to lose your jobs, go do what you need to do," Yi Feng yelled at the two security guards who were approaching. The two security guards were stunned and couldn't help but turn to look at Zhu Yiquan. "You are the only one who wants to make others lose their jobs. Do you really think you are a piece of cake?" Zhu Yiquan smiled contemptuously and said to the two security guards, "Don't worry, you two can get him. Then you can go to work at my logistics company and earn more than you do here." "Thank you, Mr. Zhu." The two security guards no longer had any worries and rolled up their sleeves and rushed towards Yi Feng. "Strip him clean and take out all the valuables from him. The bags he's carrying are all my best friend's money." Jiang Ranran snorted coldly, crossing his arms. As she spoke, she took out her cell phone to take photos and videos of Yi Feng, and sent them to Su Nanzhi via WeChat. She also told the other party that she was catching stolen goods and asked Su Nanzhi to come quickly. However, Su Nanzhi was in a meeting at the company on the other side. Even though she saw the message sent by Jiang Ranran, she didn't have time to come over. Sihai Mingyang is in chaos, with suppliers running out of stock and designers leaving. The Su family is holding an emergency meeting to discuss rescue measures. Su Nanzhi typed a reply, "Of course, Yi Feng and I have already signed the divorce papers, and he has nothing to do with me anymore." Jiang Ranran, "Wow, they really got divorced. That's great, I advised you to divorce him a long time ago. A loser like Yi Feng has wasted your time for 3 years. However, divorce is divorce, but the money he stole from you must be returned. This bastard cheated on you first, so he must be kicked out of the house. Don't worry, Nanzhi. I will help you get back every penny of the money he stole from you." Su Nanzhi thought about it and it made sense. That money was earned by her hard work, so why should she give it to Yi Feng? So, she replied, "Thank you for your hard work, Ranran. If you can get the money back, we can split it in half." Jiang Ranran, OJBK. However, the moment Jiang Ranran put away her phone, she subconsciously hugged Zhu Yiquan's arm and suddenly found that he was gone. At this moment, Yi Feng was 3 meters away from him. Zhu Yiquan fell to the ground, rolling back and forth with his hands on his stomach with a distorted expression. There were also 2 security guards on the opposite side, who had already fallen to the ground at some point. "Brother Kuan, what happened to you?" Jiang Ranran grabbed his head, completely confused. She was so engrossed in her conversation with Su Nanzhi that she didn't even notice that the fight was over. The most incredible thing is that Yi Feng actually took on 3 people alone. In Jiang Ranran's eyes, Yi Feng was just a piece of trash that she and the Su family could do without at will. When did he become so good at fighting? Feng, who gave you the courage to hit Brother Kuan? Jiang Ranran quickly came to his senses, ran over to help Zhu Yiquan up, and said to Feng angrily, Brother Kuan's father is Zhu Rueda, and Rueda Logistics is owned by him. You dare to hit him, you are tired of living. You bastard, you're dead today. Zhu Yiquan stared at Feng with a fierce look. He absolutely could not lose face in front of Jiang Ranran. Har har, Zhu Rueda is your father. Feng sneered. If he guessed correctly, after Yuxin's arrangements, a good show should be going on at Rueda Logistics at this moment. Even his own base is on fire, but Zhu Yiquan still has the leisure to pretend to be a tea-drinking girl here. What an idiot. Chapter 20 I am an internal model. Say it again if you dare. Humph, do you think you can call Boss Zhu by his name? He's the logistics tycoon of Jiangbei City. If you dare to hit his son, he can just use his connections to make sure you can't stay in Jiangbei City anymore. Jiang Ranran spoke to Feng in a haughty manner, and then quickly said to Zhu Yiquan, Brother Kuan, call and get some help. Ask 100 of your men to come over. No matter how good the man named Ji is, he is only one man. We will beat him to death in a round-robin battle. Zhu Yiquan was hit in the abdomen by Feng's knee just now, and he is still in pain. Even without Jiang Ranran's reminder, he had to ask someone to take revenge on Feng. However, just as Zhu Yiquan took out his cell phone, a majestic voice like that of a queen suddenly came from behind him. Zhu Yiquan, you've become really capable. You even dared to touch my people. Who gave you the courage? Zhu Yiquan and Jiang Ranran turned their heads to look. A tall woman was walking over from a distance. She was wearing a beige windbreaker, the hem of which fluttered gently in the wind, and she walked gracefully. The open windbreaker showed off her graceful figure, and her slender waist and long legs caught everyone's attention. Everyone who passed by her couldn't help but turn around and stare blankly. She put on a delicate and cool makeup, and her cold and arrogant eyes were filled with extraordinary confidence, as if everything was under control. Lu Tsaiwei. Zhu Yiquan even stuttered when he spoke. The woman who came over was none other than Lu Tsaiwei, the leader of the Four Beauties in Jiangbei City. She was also the young director of Wanlong Group, the eldest daughter of the wealthy Lu family, and a thoroughly fair, rich and beautiful woman. Zhu Yiquan, the son of a logistics tycoon, is not even qualified to kneel down and lick Lu Tsaiwei's feet. Not to mention a green tea bitch like Jiang Ranran. Compared with the cold and beautiful goddess Lu Tsaiwei, she is just a small shrimp in the mud and is not worth mentioning at all. Ms. Tsaiwei, you said Feng is your man? Did I hear correctly? Zhu Yiquan asked in disbelief. Lu Tsaiwei told Zhu Yiquan the truth through her actions. She held Feng affectionately, leaned on his shoulder, and acted like a little bird. Oh my god! Zhu Yiquan grabbed his head, completely confused. He just heard Jiang Ranran introduce Feng's identity. This guy is just a waste raised by the Su family. How could he deserve the favor of Lu Tsaiwei, the beautiful goddess? Miss Lu, how can you like Feng? Do you know who he is? Jiang Ranran was extremely shocked, and at one point she suspected that there was something wrong with her eyes. She really wanted to say to Lu Tsaiwei, you're mentally ill, but she didn't dare. Who I like is none of your business. Lu Tsaiwei said coldly. No, you. I remember now. You were the inner model who supported Feng last night. Jiang Ranran blurted out. I'm an inner model. Lu Tsaiwei took Feng's arm and stepped forward, only half a meter away from Jiang Ranran. She stared at Jiang Ranran and said with a smile, say it again if you dare. Fuck, Jiang Ranran, are you crazy? Zhu Yiquan was almost frightened to death. If Jiang Ranran dared to say this to Lu Tsaiwei, he would be asking for trouble. Lu Tsaiwei's father is Master Lu Wanlong, a feared underground gangster in Jiangbei City who owns half of Jiangbei. Jiang Ranran complained bitterly. How could she dare to say that Lu Tsaiwei was an internal model? She just blurted it out and regretted it right after she said it. What do you mean by you? Apologize to Miss Tsaiwei right now. Zhu Yiquan roared angrily. If Lu Tsaiwei gets angry, Zhu Yiquan will also be implicated, and he can't afford it. I'm sorry. Jiang Ranran stuttered, and before she could finish her words, Lu Tsaiwei raised her hand and interrupted her. Not only did you say that I was an inner model, but you also bullied my man. We don't accept your apology. Jiang Ranran was so scared that she peed herself. She grabbed Ju Yiquan's arm and begged with a sad face, "Brother Kuan, please help me to plead with Miss Wei. I really didn't mean it." Ju Yiquan's expression was more embarrassed than if he had eaten poop. He wanted to plead for Jiang Ranran, but in front of Wei, the eldest daughter of Wanlong Group, he was nothing. Not only would Ju Yiquan not plead for Jiang Ranran, he also had to get himself out quickly. "I beg you to pity me. If Miss Wei doesn't forgive you, then you should kneel down and apologize to her and Yi Feng." Ju Yiquan mercilessly shook off Jiang Ranran's arm, then bowed to Wei and Yi Feng and said, "I'm sorry, I have nothing to do with this Jiang Ranran. You can do whatever you want with her. If you don't want to get your hands dirty, I can help you." Ju Yiquan, you. Jiang Ranran was completely stunned by Ju Yiquan's actions. "You bastard, didn't you say you liked me? Is that how you like me? I was blind to recognize you." Jiang Ranran was furious and started cursing at Ju Yiquan, pointing at his nose. Bang! A loud slap hit Jiang Ranran in the face. "It was Ju Yiquan who hit me. I'd be blind to know you. I like you, Mar maybe. Kneel down and apologize to Miss Wei and Mr. Yi Feng immediately, or I will gather 100 of my men to take turns to take you away," Ju Yiquan said ferociously. Not long ago, Jiang Ranran asked Ju Yiquan to call 100 brothers to beat up Yi Feng, and now Ju Yiquan wants to use these brothers on Wei. The slap in the face came so quickly that Jiang Ranran ended up becoming a clown. She couldn't deal with Ju Yiquan, and she was even more afraid of the powerful background behind Wei. Jiang Ranran was so frightened that her knees unconsciously went weak, and she finally knelt down in front of Wei and Yi Feng. "I'm sorry, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said you were an internal model, and I shouldn't have wrongly accused Yi Feng of stealing money. I deserve to die. Please forgive me for this time." Jiang Ranran apologized sincerely. "Bitch, give me my coat back." Ju Yiquan pulled away the clothes that Jiang Ranran had wrapped around her waist. He wanted to wear it, but the smell was too strong. Ju Yiquan threw it to the security guard next to him with disgust and said angrily, "Please help me throw it into the trash can, it's so smelly and smelly." Jiang Ranran was not only surrounded by endless humiliation at this time, but her pencil pants were also torn, which was more obvious when she was kneeling on the ground. This feeling was like accepting a mission from a financial sponsor, and she wanted to die. Of course, Jiang Ranran was very upset with Yi Feng. This good-for-nothing from the Su family just divorced Su Nanzhi, and now is favored by Wei. He's really a complete gigolo. Jiang Ranran thought to herself, when Wei has had enough fun, Yi Feng, will still be a stinky dog that no one wants. She didn't believe that Yi Feng attracted Wei with his charm. He must have used sweet words to bewitch Wei. How could a rich, white, and beautiful goddess like Wei fall for a useless guy like Yi Feng? She just treats him like a dog to play with. It's like the sponsor adopted little M, but he might still be tortured by steel wool and dog chains at night. Chapter 21, Hand over the land with one hand and the person with the other. "My dear, have you calmed down?" Jiang Ranran knelt for a long time and couldn't get up. Wei asked Yi Feng with a smile. "I won't be angry with this green tea bitch." Yi Feng didn't even look at Jiang Ranran, turned and walked towards the cashier. Before, he loved Su Nanzhi and was willing to do anything for her family and friends. Now, he no longer loves her. In his eyes, people like Jiang Ranran are nothing but air. "Go away." Wei waved her hand to send Jiang Ranran and Ju Yiquan away, walked quickly to the cashier, took out her mobile phone and opened the payment code, and said to the cashier, "These are mine, you are not allowed to take money from my man." The cashier witnessed the scene just now and already knew the identity of this young lady. She envied Yi Feng in her heart and respectfully obeyed Wei. "Okay, Miss Wei." Yi Feng smiled bitterly. In contrast, Su Nanzhi has never bought herself a set of clothes in 3 years of marriage. Not even a piece of underwear or a pair of socks. It was just such a woman that Yi Feng was willing to serve for 3 years. Even if it is a piece of ice, it should melt by now. Unfortunately, not only did she not put on makeup, she even went so far as to have her first love, by Yueguan, do in vitro fertilization. Yi Feng really wanted Su Nanzhi to come over and see with her own eyes. It's not like there are no women who like him, Yi Feng. The man Su Nanzhi, never took seriously, now has someone competing to love him. "Put these clothes here first, and I'll help you choose a few more." Not only that, after paying the bill, Lu Wei dragged Yifeng away again. She wanted to help Yifeng choose clothes personally. She wore all the clothes that Lu Wei had chosen for her, from inside to outside. Yifeng couldn't resist Lu Wei's pulling and had to follow her to continue shopping in the mall. Hengfu Plaza parking lot. Zhu Yiquan pulled Jiang Ranran to his car. Why are you still holding me? Don't you dislike me? Get out of here. Jiang Ranran tried to push Zhu Yiquan away, but because her pants were torn, she could only lean her butt against the car. Are you a fool? If I hadn't said that just now, do you think Lu Wei would have let you off easily? Master Lu of Wanlong Group kills without blinking an eye. You offended his daughter, so he's lucky he didn't put you in a sack and throw you into the river. My silly baby, I was saving you. Zhu Yiquan said earnestly. Humph, look at Lu Wei's eyes and it's worth it, I don't believe you. Although Jiang Ranran was still angry, her tone had become much weaker. She actually didn't want to lose Zhu Yiquan as a backup, because among the many bootlickers and backups, Zhu Yiquan, the son of a logistics tycoon, was the most powerful. I'm not worthy of Miss Lu's approval. Come on, baby, hurry up and get in the car. I'll take you to eat something delicious, and then we'll go to another place to buy the bag you like. Zhu Yiquan was coaxing Jiang Ranran to get in the car when a burly figure approached quietly and put his arm around Zhu Yiquan's shoulders. Who is it? Zhu Yiquan was startled and turned sideways, yelling and looking. You. Master Yu. After seeing who was coming, Zhu Yiquan quickly reached into his pocket for a cigarette. That's right, the rest of your life is here. When Lu Wei entered the mall just now, Yuxin followed her. Stop smoking, let's talk somewhere else. Yuxin pointed to his car not far away. Master Yu, I have already apologized to the young lady, please forgive me. Zhu Yiquan clasped his hands together and begged for mercy. He was not stupid, so he naturally knew that Yuxin appeared to protect Lu Wei. This guy is the most capable general of the Wanlong society, and no one will have a good time if he targets you. Hurry up, don't force me to do it. And you, come along. Yuxin pointed at Jiang Ranran, his stern face showing great majesty. Brother Kuan, who is he? I'm scared, let's go. Jiang Ranran didn't know Yuxin, but when she heard Zhu Yiquan call him Master Yu, she knew that the man in front of her was not someone to be trifled with. As a green tea bitch, it is impossible for her to come into contact with underground martial artists and ruthless people like Yuxin from the Wanlong society. It's all your damn fault. Don't ask any more. Just listen to Master Yu. Zhu Yiquan cried out in pain, but he didn't dare to run, so he could only walk towards Yuxin's car obediently. In fact, Zhu Yiquan didn't know that Yuxin had originally given up on dealing with Zhu Yiquan and Jiang Ranran, but he changed his mind and thought that Zhu Rueda had offended young Master Yi, and his girlfriend Jiang Ranran had offended both young Master Yi and Lu Wei, so it would be too easy for them to just let them go. I can take this opportunity to call Zhu Rueda and give this guy a double kill. So after getting in the car, Yuxin signaled to Zhu Yiquan, call your dad, I'll talk to him. Really? Can I call my dad? Zhu Yiquan couldn't believe his ears. He just wanted to call his father and ask him to plead with Yuxin or Lu Wanlong. Yuxin lit a cigarette and nodded lightly. Zhu Yiquan happily took out his cell phone and called his father. After he finished talking about what happened just now, Yuxin took the phone and said directly, Boss Zhu, your son has offended my eldest daughter. I am going to smash his mouth and knock out all his teeth, and also break one of his legs. No, let's talk it over. I'll pay you, you name your price. Even though Zhu Rueda was extremely busy, he couldn't ignore his own son. Besides your son, there is also his girlfriend. How much do you think they are worth, Boss Zhu? Yuxin asked slowly. 1 million will do. What do you do with the beggars? 2 million. Zhu Rueda gritted his teeth and added another million. Who are you looking down on? I have thousands of brothers in the Wanlong society. 2 million is not even enough to pay for their tea. You said angrily. Then tell me, how much money do you want in exchange for letting him go? Zhu Rueda had no choice but to let Yuxin name the price. I don't want money. You have a piece of land in the north of the city where you plan to build a branch factory, right? I'll go to you to sign the contract tomorrow. Let's hand over the land in one hand and the people in the other. The rest of your life sets conditions. Dude, are you kidding me? I spent 10 million to buy that piece of land. Your asking price is too high. Zhu Rueda said angrily. If you don't want to give it to me, then just ignore what I said. Bye. Yusheng pretended to hang up the phone. Zhu Yikuan was anxious, grabbing the phone and yelling, Dad, give it to him, give it to him. If you don't, I will be tortured to death by Wanlong Hui. You prodigal son, that's a 10 million piece of land. Your father's main factory has been investigated. If I give the branch factory to the Wanlong Society, I will have no way out. Zhu Rueda yelled. The main factory was investigated. Why? Zhu Yikuan was confused and shocked. Yusheng added at the right moment, because your father offended someone he shouldn't have offended. Zhu Rueda on the other end of the phone heard this, and an idea suddenly occurred to him. He quickly shouted into the phone, Brother Yu, oh no. Master Yu, please show me a way out. If I, Zhu Rueda, can get through this, I will definitely serve you at all times. Let's talk tomorrow, at your branch factory. After Yusheng finished speaking, he started the car and drove away. With the young lady here to accompany Feng, he could go home from get off work. He pointed this out to Zhu Rueda. If the other party was not stupid, he would understand that there must be something fishy about the disaster that Rueda Logistics suffered today. Chapter 22, Have you, Sai Hai Mingyan, offended someone? Jiangbei People's Hospital. Qin Xianbing sat in front of the hospital bed, looking at her nephew Qin Beishan with tears in her eyes. Although the aunt and nephew do not meet often, Qin Beishan is Qin Xuanbing's nephew after all. Especially since Qin Beishan is the only male of the Qin family's generation, and he is facing the end of his life at the age of 25. Qin Xianbing feels really distressed. Little aunt, please stop crying. I've come to terms with it. It doesn't matter if I die early or late, I'll just be a handful of ashes. Qin Beishan forced a smile and said. How can it be the same? You haven't married or had kids yet, and you've only lived less than a quarter of your life. My poor nephew, why did God do this to you? Qin Xianbing became more and more sad as she spoke, and she covered her face and burst into tears. Qin Beishan handed his aunt a tissue and comforted her. Aunt, Nanzhi is already pregnant with the Qin family's child. I have no regrets in my life. In the remaining months, I will eat and drink as I should, and you don't have to worry about me. Besides this wish, do you have anything else you want to do? Tell me everything, and I will definitely find a way to help you fulfill it. Qin Xianbing raised her tearful eyes and spoke seriously. There's nothing special I want to do, except that I still owe some loans when I invested in business overseas. But I'm going to die anyway, so it doesn't matter whether I return it or not. Qin Beishan said nonchalantly. How can that be possible? We Qin family members cannot be deadbeats. Give me your card number and I'll transfer the money to you. Pay off the loans quickly. Qin Xianbing took out her cell phone as she spoke. Aunt, there's really no need. Those loans have nothing to do with you and my parents, so it really doesn't matter whether you pay them back or not. Qin Beishan declined. Hurry up and give me the card number. My aunt has worked hard outside these years and has saved up some money. I'll transfer half to you and keep the other half for your and Nanzhi's wedding. She is pregnant with our Qin family's child. Although she is a second marriage, we cannot treat her badly. Auntie will help you hold a romantic and grand wedding of the century. Qin Xianbing made a promise. Aunt, you've been so good to me. I don't know how to repay you. Oh, I feel so bad. How could I have such an incurable disease? Qin Beishan pounded the bed hard, complaining about the unfairness of fate. Xiaoshan, don't be like this. Auntie will find a way to contact some famous doctors to help you treat it. The traditional Chinese medicine in Dragon Country is very good. Many people like you who have been sentenced to death have experienced miracles. We can't give up. As long as there is a glimmer of hope, I will try even if it means losing everything I have. Qin Xianbing grabbed her nephew's hand and comforted him. Nanzhi said the same thing, and the attending doctor at the hospital recommended me a miracle doctor in Yunchuan. I have already contacted him. But the miracle doctor needs an appointment to see me, and I have to wait half a month. Qin Beishan said. This is a good thing. There are some very good Miao doctors in Yunchuan. Don't worry, Xiaoshan. I'll pay for the consultation. Qin Xianbing said with joy. Aunt, I am so lucky to have you as my relative. Qin Beishan started crying again. Okay, Xiaoshen, it's good to have hope. Stop crying, give me your account number and pay off those loans as soon as possible. Qin Xianbing helped Qin Beishan wipe his tears. Qin Beishan did not refuse again, but just as he sent the card number to his aunt on WeChat, a call from overseas came in. He didn't dare to answer the call in front of his aunt and just hung up. But after a few seconds, the other party called again. Damn scam calls, more than a dozen a day, it's so annoying. Qin Bei was so angry that he turned off his phone. After Qin Xianbing transferred the money to Qin Beishan, she also received a call from Su Nanzhi. What's wrong, Nanzhi? Qin Xianbing asked after answering the phone. Director Qin, there's trouble in my company. Su Nanzhi told Qin Xianbing what had just happened. She wanted to ask Qin Xianbing for help to find a new supplier of building materials and a more famous decoration designer. These are not the problems. The key is why there is trouble at this critical moment. Did you offend someone? Qin Xianbing hit the nail on the head. Clearly, they were about to win a big order from Jinxiu Mingzhu, but the supplier and the designer withdrew together. It's obvious that someone is behind this. After all, Qin Xianbing had followed the president of the Truman Chamber of Commerce, so he had a very clear mind. If it's true as you said, then this person's power is too great. Su Nanzhi also considered this. Because when Professor Zheng resigned, she said that she had never been famous. However, there is no need for those who are related to Professor Zheng to target the Su family's fame. Since Professor Zheng joined the company and became famous all over the world, Su Nanzhi has never had any disputes with her and has treated her like a goddess. I'll ask someone to check for you. Come to Jinxiu Mingzhu to see me on time tomorrow, and we'll meet and talk in detail. Qin Xianbing didn't say anything more. After hanging up the phone, she went to find a caregiver for Qin Beishan. After she left, Qin Beishan got out of bed as quickly as possible and ran into the bathroom. He quickly turned on his phone and called the previous number. Similarly, he turned on the faucet very high, locked the bathroom door, and even spoke as quietly as possible when talking to the other party. However, Qin Beishan spoke Korean. The way he spoke timidly on the phone was enough to show that he was very afraid of the person on the other end of the line. The next morning, Jinxiu Mingzhu Industrial Group. A Maybach stopped at the company's door, and a handsome young man in a suit and tie walked out. It was Feng, the new president of Jinxiu Mingzhu. The driver was Yushen. Lu Caiwei went to her grandma's house for dinner last night, so she did not go to work with Feng. Yushen drove the car to the underground parking lot, and Feng walked into the company alone. The Jinxiu Mingzhu Commercial Street project was launched a month ago, and the group company building has already been completed. This was all Lu Wanlong's work. He used his own land. The 18-story group building is very impressive. Feng spent a total of 188,000 yuan on this outfit, and everything from inside to outside was carefully selected by Lu Caiwei. He didn't pay much attention to clothes before, but he had a good foundation. As the saying goes, clothes make the man, and saddles make their horse. After Feng's transformation, he is no longer the househusband who cooks with an apron at home. His handsome image is no less than that of popular male stars. So much so that as soon as Feng entered the room, he fascinated everyone at the front desk and the first floor lobby. Many of these girls thought that some big star had come to the company, and they all became crazy about him. Feng. Why is it you? Unfortunately, a girl in the lobby recognized Feng. She is Su Xiaofei, the eldest daughter of the second son of the Su family. In addition to Su Xiaofei, there is also her boyfriend Liang Xiangwen. Chapter 23. What a trick! I will not be defeated by you even if the wall is not defeated. Su Xiaofei and her boyfriend came here naturally for the upcoming cooperation between Su's company and Jinxiu Mingzhu. Because of her relationship with Qin Beishan, Su Nanzhi has become a close friend of Qin Xianbing. However, the revenue from the order that Su Nanzhi negotiated had nothing to do with Su Xiaofei and her parents. Because the old lady clearly said that whoever could get the order from Jinxiu Mingzhu would get her 10% stake, including doubling of the year-end dividends and bonuses. Of course Su Xiaofei had to think about herself, so she asked her boyfriend Liang Xiangwen to find someone to help her get in touch with a senior executive of Jinxiu Mingzhu Industrial Group. This person belongs to Wanlong Real Estate, a subsidiary of Wanlong Group, and was transferred to participate in the Jinxiu Mingzhu Commercial Street project. Su Xiaofei brought her boyfriend to meet the other party early in the morning, but the executive had not arrived for work yet, so she and Liang Xiangwen waited in the lobby. Unexpectedly, I ran into Yifeng, who was dressed smartly. No way, Xiaofei, this person is the useless husband Yifeng that Sister Nanzhi raised that you told me about. Liang Xiangwen looked at Yifeng's clothes and recognized the brand with his sharp eyes. This suit is not cheap, it's worth more than 100,000. Liang Xiangwen sighed enviously. What's so surprising? It must be a high-end imitation. This loser usually even keeps cans and cardboard to sell for money, how can he afford such an expensive suit? Su Xiaofei said with disdain. Liang Xiangwen nodded, then asked suspiciously, Yifeng, what are you doing in Jinshu Mingzhu? This is not a place you can come to. I'm here to work, any questions? Yifeng said lightly. Har har har, you're here to work. Su Xiaofei's laughter was so loud that it shook like thunder. Liang Xiangwen also sneered. He had heard from his girlfriend that Yifeng was jointly banned by the Su family, Qin Xianbing and Zhu Ruida yesterday. This Yifeng is really a boaster. Qin Xianbing is the director of Jinshu Mingzhu, and Yifeng actually said that he would come here to work. This person is totally mentally ill. I understand. You didn't come here to work. You came here to kneel down and beg Qin Xianbing for mercy, asking her to let you live. Su Xiaofei said self-righteously. Dude, you're pretty good at this. You've got this high-quality fake stuff on, and you look like a nobody. It seems like you're hoping to rely on your masculine charm to get Director Qin to show some mercy and let you go. Good trick, I will be convinced by you if not the wall. Liang Xiangwen mocked in return. Trash is trash. He can only rely on being a gigolo to make a living. It's so fucking disgusting. Su Xiaofei's face was full of disgust. What are you doing? Stop making loud noises. Just as Yifeng was about to speak, a security guard in the hall came over and stopped him, saying, if you want to argue, go outside and do not disturb us from working. Security boss, this guy is someone that Director Qin has banned. Get him out right away. Su Xiaofei complained immediately. Who is Director Qin? We only have 2 Director Lus here. What do you do? Why do you give me orders? The security guard asked back. Qin Xianbing was appointed and dispatched by the Jinghai headquarters, and she took office at the same time as Yifeng. Before this, Jinshu Mingzhu Industrial Group had always been managed by Lu Caiwei and her father Lu Wanlong, so the security guards didn't know any Director Qin at all. How can a stinky security guard like you talk like that? We are here to see Director Wu Yongwang. We made an appointment with him last night. Liang Xiangwen revealed his identity. You can't argue in the hall even if you're looking for Manager Wu. Keep your voices down. The security guard's tone softened a lot. As a small security guard, he really didn't dare to offend Manager Wu's people. You are such a look-down-looking watchdog. Go play with your balls. Liang Xiangwen became more and more arrogant and pushed the security guard away. I'm telling you, Yifeng, trash like you only deserves to be in the trash can. You've divorced my sister, and she's reconciled with Qin Beishan. Director Qin will only stand on the side of our Su family, so don't even think about getting her forgiveness. Su Xiaofei continued to curse and swear. Yifeng almost understood. Su Xiaofei brought Liang Xiangwen to ask Manager Wu for help in negotiating cooperation with Jinshu Mingzhu, hoping to gain some benefits for her father, the second son of the Su family, and his family. Su Xiaofei, you better remember this. Your family and the entire Su family will never make a penny from Jinshu Mingzhu. Yifeng repeated what he said yesterday, then strode towards the elevator. Stop right there. At this moment, a sharp shout suddenly came from behind. It was not Su Xiaofei and Liang Xiangwen who threatened to stop Yifeng. Speak of the devil, here comes the manager Wu Yongwang whom Liang Xiangwen had found. He was wearing a grey suit, had a beer belly, and walked in front of Yifeng with a slicked back hairstyle like a big-haired guy. Su Xiaofei and Liang Xiangwen quickly followed. Good morning, Manager Wu. Your hairstyle is so cool. Yeah, I thought the big star FAGE was here. Liang Xiangwen and Su Xiaofei licked wildly against their will. Wu Yongwang has a pockmarked face and is only about 1.6 meters tall. His suit is very baggy, making him look like a circus clown. He is so handsome. Manager Wu slicked his hair back like a fool, stared at Yifeng and said, Who do you think you are? When will it be your turn to make the decision for Jinshu Mingzhu? Liang Xiangwen asked someone to use his connections to find Wu Yongwang, and naturally he wanted to extort a large sum of money from him. Wu Yongwen secretly accepted 1 million yuan from Liang Xiangwen and Su Xiaofei. He must show off in front of them and make them feel that the money was worth it. Even though his help in the introduction later won't be of much use, at least he has done it. This stupid young man who appeared out of nowhere actually threatened to make sure Su Xiaofei and the Su family wouldn't earn a penny from Jinxiu Mingzhu. So Wu Yongwen would start with him. Brother, you are not young anymore. It must not be easy to be a supervisor in Jinxiu Mingzhu Industrial Group. It won't hurt to keep a low profile. Otherwise, I am afraid you will lose your job. Feng kindly reminded. Just now, Su Xiaofei and Liang Xiangwen called the man with the slicked back hair Manager Wu, and Feng already knew this person's identity. It doesn't matter if he is just a company manager and doesn't know Feng, the incoming president of the group, but Jinxiu Mingzhu cannot have such an ostentatious person, and it is not allowed to take money privately to use connections. Feng will investigate thoroughly later. If the relationship between Manager Wu and Su Xiaofei and Liang Xiangwen is purely based on interests, then he will have to pack up and leave. Har har har. Su Xiaofei and Liang Xiangwen burst out laughing. Feng, a loser who came here to kneel and beg for forgiveness from Director Qin, actually had the audacity to remind Supervisor Wu to keep a low profile. Who does he think he is? There are fucking weirdos every year, but there are especially many today. Wu Yongwen sneered and immediately called the security guard and ordered, "Kick this psycho out. If I see him again, you'll pay and leave." The security guard dared not disobey Manager Wu's order and immediately stepped forward to drive Feng away. Chapter 24. I'm so sad when you say that. Xiaosu, Xiaoliang, both of you come upstairs with me. Wu Yongwen saw the elevator coming and called out to Su Xiaofei and the other person. Manager Wu, please go first. Su Xiaofei and Liang Xiangwen invited Manager Wu into the elevator in a flattering manner. At the moment of closing the door, Su Xiaofei looked down at Feng, who was being driven away by the security guards, and said, "You are a loser who doesn't even have a chance to beg for mercy from Director Qin. Hurry up and find a broken bowl and go to the overpass to beg." Liang Xiangwen also made a face and laughed at him. "Lululu, you are a useless person who only knows how to live off others, you stinky idiot." Feng laughed out of anger. This pair of bastards won't even have a place to cry later. Including Manager Wu, whose career at Jinxiu Mingzhu came to an end. Don't push me. You'll have to escort me to the elevator respectfully later. It's not troublesome enough. Feng shook off the security guard and said. The security guard was stunned at first, then waved his hand and said, "Go away quickly, and don't come here again." He just thought that Feng had something wrong with his brain. I guess he was fired from his previous job at Wanlong Group and has mental problems. It's a pity that he is so handsome but has mental illness at such a young age. Master Yi, why don't you go in? At this time, Lu Caiwei, dressed in a black business suit, entered the company. Oh, I was kicked out by the security guard. Feng said with a helpless smile. What? The security guard turned around, his eyes wide open. Brother Chen, what are you doing? This is Mr. Yi, the incoming CEO of Jinxiu Mingzhu. Lu Caiwei glared and scolded. Mr. Yi, Mr. Yi. The security guard was completely numb. Fortunately, Feng didn't argue with him. He waved his hand and said, "Go and do your thing. Remember to put up a sign here later, prohibiting the Yi family from entering." After saying that, Feng and Lu Caiwei walked towards the elevator. The security guard came to his senses and hurriedly nodded and bowed to lead the way. And he kept apologizing to Feng. "I'm sorry, Mr. Yi, I really didn't know your identity, I really deserve to die, please don't fire me, I was wrong. Go ahead and keep the door open. When Director Wu and the other two come downstairs, please help me see them off." Feng smiled faintly. Understood, Feng, don't worry, I will definitely do it. The security brother saluted and accepted the order. The elevator that Feng and Lu Caiwei took was reserved for the company's senior management. It was completely different from the one that Manager Wu and his two companions took. It was the employee elevator. Before Feng came, only two people could ride this special elevator, namely Lu Caiwei and her father Lu Wanlong. The elevator goes directly to their top floor office. This floor now belongs only to Feng. Lu Caiwei and Lu Wanlong are going to move from here to the next floor. Therefore, Wu Yongwang and the other two couldn't see Feng going upstairs at all. "Mr. Yi, how did you sleep last night? Did you feel uncomfortable without me by your side? Lu Wei helped Yi Feng take off his suit and hung it up, then made him a cup of coffee and brought it to him, smiling and joking. You worry too much. I slept soundly until dawn. Yi Feng drank coffee and looked at the beautiful city view outside the top floor, feeling a lot of emotion for a moment. In the past, he not only had to go to bed late but also had to get up early. I stay up late to do housework, laundry and so on. Because Nanzhi loves cleanliness and washes all her clothes every day. Yi Feng got up early to buy fresh vegetables for breakfast for Nanzhi. She was very picky about food, so Yi Feng had to cook different dishes for her every day. Now, without all their work, Yi Feng enjoyed Lu Wei's large single-family villa last night, and he felt so comfortable. I'm so sad when you say that. Lu Wei pouted and acted coquettishly. Stop, this is the company, be serious. Convene a meeting of senior executives immediately. I have several appointments to announce. Before the meeting, please ask Qin Xianbing to come over here. I have something private to discuss with her. Yi Feng raised his hand and gave instructions. Have you met Qin Xianbing? Lu Wei asked in surprise. I met her yesterday, and she gave me a big surprise. Yi Feng couldn't help laughing. Qin Xianbing was famous throughout the Su family yesterday. How arrogant was he? Yi Feng was looking forward to meeting her next time. Surprise? What surprise? Boss Yi, as far as I know, Qin Xianbing was once the lover of the president of the Truman Chamber of Commerce. You must not be fooled by her. Lu Wei reminded seriously. She didn't understand what Yi Feng's surprise was, and thought that the two of them met by chance and some sparks flew. Lu Wei doesn't want Yi Feng to be snatched away by Qin Xianbing. You'll know soon, go call her over. Yi Feng kept it a secret for the time being. Lu Wei went out in confusion. Downstairs reception room. Qin Xianbing had just taken office and had not yet arranged an office. She didn't have an employee card, so she could only wait in the reception room for Lu Wei to come and pick her up. In addition to Qin Xianbing, there was also Nanzhi in the reception room. The two had just arrived and did not see Yi Feng and Lu Wei going upstairs together. Nanzhi, I'll go up first. You just wait here for my call. Qin Xianbing gave some instructions. Okay, Sister Qin. Nanzhi nodded obediently. Why are you still calling me sister? You're pregnant with Beishan's child, you can call me aunt instead. Qin Xianbing said with a smile. I'd better call you sister. After all, I just helped Beishan fulfill a last wish, and I didn't confirm our relationship. Nanzhi said embarrassedly. It's only a matter of time. You and Yi Feng have already divorced. Once you have officially completed the divorce procedures, I will help you and Beishan hold a wedding. I already told Beishan last night that this wedding must attract the attention of the whole city, and I want you to be the most beautiful bride. Qin Xianbing said seriously. Just as Nanzhi was about to speak, Lu Wei pushed the door and walked in. She quickly stood up and greeted, Hello, Miss Wei. There is no way Nanzhi didn't know Lu Wei, the young director of Wanlong Group. She was the most beautiful girl among the 4 beauties in Jiangbei City. No matter her appearance, temperament, or net worth, she is no match for Nanzhi. It's Vice President Su. You're here just in time. I want to ask you why you divorced Mr. Yi Feng. Lu Wei only knew that Yi Feng had relationship problems, and did not know the specific reason why he divorced Nanzhi. She asked Yi Feng about it when they were shopping in the mall yesterday, but Yi Feng refused to say anything. Nanzhi was stuck for a moment. She knew better than anyone that Yi Feng divorced her because she was pregnant with Qin Beishan's child. How could she have the nerve to talk about such an ugly thing? Miss Lu, this is someone's privacy. It's not right for you to ask about it. Qin Xianbing interrupted. Of course she had to protect Nanzhi. Qin Xianbing, I asked Nanzhi, what does this have to do with you? Lu Wei directly confronted Qin Xianbing and she would not indulge this woman. The two had met privately yesterday, and Lu Wanlong was also there. Even though Qin Xianbing was sent from Jinghai, before she was officially appointed by Yi Feng, Lu Wei's position in the company was equal to hers. We are all directors, who is afraid of who? Chapter 25. Let us see who can make Mr. Yi surrender within a week. Qin Xian snorted coldly, Nanzhi is my nephew's wife, do you think she has anything to do with me? Oh my god, Miss Su just divorced Mr. Yi, and she became someone else's wife the next day. I really can't praise her speed in finding a new partner. Lu Caiwei's words left Su Nanzhi speechless. This is no less than being called a slut. This is their freedom, what's your business? Qin Xianbing continued to protect Su Nanzhi. I really can't control her freedom, but you, Qin Xianbing, brought nepotism into the company, so I have to control it. If I'm not mistaken, you brought Su Nanzhi here to help her get a backdoor. Qin Xianbing, you are just a deputy director. When will it be your turn to be the boss of Jinshu Mingzhu Industrial Group? Lu Caiwei said righteously. You? Qin Xianbing was so angry that veins turned blue. But she then argued, don't accuse me here. Although there is a relationship between Su Nanzhi and me, I didn't take a penny from her. And I asked her to come here today just to help with the introduction. She will not be involved in the decision-making of the company's top management. The most important point is that Si Haimingyang's qualifications fully meet the scope of cooperation with Jinshu Mingzhu Commercial Street. Su Nanzhi also echoed, Ms. Caiwei, what Director Qin said is completely true. I can guarantee with my character that I have never given her a penny in private. Lu Caiwei sneered, your personality. How can you be someone who has become someone else's daughter-in-law before completing the formal divorce procedures? Su Nanzhi was silenced again. This time, without waiting for Qin Xianbing to speak up to defend him again. Lu Caiwei said bluntly, Deputy Director Qin, do you think I don't know? The Su family's reputation spread all over the world. Not only did all the building material suppliers cancel their cooperation, but even the decoration designers left en masse. Is this what you call the Su family's famous company qualifications? Jinshu Mingzhu wants to cooperate with a shell company. Are you a funny guy hired by the monkey? This is only temporary. Si Haimingyang is already trying to save it. I believe they. Qin Xianbing's momentum had weakened a lot, but she was still interrupted by Lu Caiwei. What do you believe in? Are you gambling with Jinshu Mingzhu Commercial Street? Qin Xianbing, who is paying you? Qin Xianbing finally lost the strength to fight back. She is not one of the famous people in the Su family, but she has always been here speaking for Su Nanzhi. If Lu Caiwei told this to Mr. Yi upstairs, one can imagine what kind of punishment Qin Xianbing would face. Ms. Caiwei, I hope you and the top management of Jinshu Mingzhu can give Si Haimingyang a chance. I promise to solve the company's problems as soon as possible and will never delay the cooperation with Jinshu Mingzhu. In the depressing atmosphere, Su Nanzhi spoke to Lu Caiwei in a pleading tone. It's useless for you to tell me this. I'm not the president of Jinshu Mingzhu. Ms. Su, I really want to tell you that you could have easily obtained a mountain of gold and silver, but in the end you ruined it with your own hands. After Lu Caiwei finished speaking to Su Nanzhi, she turned and walked out of the reception room and said to Qin Xianbing, let's go, Director Qin. President Yi is upstairs to see you in person. Nanzhi, don't be discouraged, cheer up. Qin Xianbing patted Su Nanzhi's hand and gave her an encouraging look. Okay, Sister Qin, I hope I won't cause you too much trouble. Su Nanzhi tried hard to force a smile and watched Qin Xianbing leave. But I still couldn't figure out what Lu Caiwei meant by what she just said. Why did you destroy a mountain of gold and silver with your own hands? She just thought that she shouldn't appear with Qin Xianbing, and was caught by Lu Caiwei, which made the cooperation between Si Haimingyang and Jinshu Mingzhu Commercial Street suspected of backdoor cooperation. But what Lu Caiwei really meant was that Su Nanzhi had angered Yi Feng, the eldest son, and had driven him away, and had personally destroyed a fortune that was as rich as a country. In the company's exclusive elevator for senior executives. Lu Caiwei's words that President Yi had summoned her personally made Qin Xianbing regain her confidence. Lu Caiwei, Mr. Yi summoned me personally as soon as he arrived. You and your father Lu Wanlong have fought for the Red Leaf Chamber of Commerce for so many years, but you have never received any favor from Mr. Yi. How do you feel about this? Qin Xianbing deliberately provoked Lu Caiwei. She wants to get back at the score. Lu Caiwei thought about what Yi Feng said when she went downstairs just now, that he had met Qin Xianbing privately yesterday and even received a big surprise from Qin Xianbing. She felt very uncomfortable. She thought she was pretty, but in terms of experience and the means of training men, she was definitely not as good as the young woman Qin Xianbing. Don't forget that this woman once followed the president of the Truman Chamber of Commerce, a big tycoon in the south. According to the information Lu Caiwei found, Qin Xianbing had been hooking up with the president of the Truman Chamber of Commerce when she was less than 20 years old. Especially since Qin Xianbing was so complacent at this moment, Lu Caiwei couldn't help but think wrongly. She felt that the surprise Yi Feng received yesterday was beauty, and it was Qin Xuanbing's seduction of Yi Feng. Yi Feng is only 25 years old, how can he resist the young killer Qin Xianbing? What can I feel? I just envy you for living a good life, Aunt Qin. Lu Caiwei said sourly. Qin Xianbing frowned, and just as she was about to get angry, she changed her mind and straightened her back and said, business is like a battlefield, and capturing men is also a skill. It's useless for you to have a pretty face alone, so learn something. HMPH, wait until you are old and ugly, and then we'll see if you are still awesome. Lu Caiwei choked back. You're not convinced, right? Then let's make a bet and see who can make Mr. Yi surrender within a week. Do you dare? Qin Xianbing said with a proud look on her face. Let's gamble. What if you can't do it? Lu Caiwei's competitive spirit was aroused. Qin Xianbing said arrogantly, I, Qin Xianbing, don't have the word lose in my dictionary. The only one who can't do it is you. Ding dong tilde tilde. At this time, the elevator reached the top floor. Qin Xianbing walked out of the elevator first and said to Lu Caiwei, as a sister, I won't bully you. If you lose, just help me buy a sports car. Lu Caiwei was so angry that her teeth itched. She said angrily, who said I will definitely lose? If you lose, go to the Riverside Bridge and run naked for an hour. She had enough money for a sports car, but she just couldn't stand Qin Xuanbing's arrogant face. Make a deal. Qin Xianbing agreed to the bet offered by Lu Caiwei without even thinking about it. Come in quickly, Master Yi is getting impatient. At this time, Lu Wanlong heard the quarrel at the elevator door and poked his head out of the office to greet them. He took the elevator directly from the underground parking lot and went upstairs instead of going through the company gate. He had been sitting here with Yi Feng for a long time. Dad, didn't young Master Yi want to summon Aunt Qin alone? Lu Caiwei quickly walked to her father and asked. Qin Xianbing also came over, and while adjusting her clothes, she looked at the figure standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. Just looking left and right, she vaguely felt that the back figure seemed a little familiar. Chapter 26. The young woman killer kneels down to apologize. We three directors are here together to summon Master Yi. Stop talking and close the door. Lu Wanlong simply said something to his daughter, took a few steps forward and said respectfully to Yi Feng's back, Young Master Yi, everyone is here. Although Qin Xianbing was confused, she quickly stood up straight. Not far away, this is a famous. Kui Yu walked out of their abyss directly, stretched out a hand and grabbed the wrist of one of them. It is not their turn to greet the partners or business celebrities who come, so of course they just want to have fun. Maybe it was a spiritual connection between mother and son? Yi Haining actually thought of this miraculously. Otherwise, how could Oreo, who used to admire and protect Lu Feifen so much, become a little repulsive now? You know me, who are you? Xu Yijie was really scared. The other party actually knew his name. It seemed that he had no good intentions. So what if he was sent by Tathagata? If he is dissatisfied, let him come to me and reason with me himself. Sun Wukong glared and said in a very tough attitude. Since returning to the Lu family, Oreo was taken back to the original kindergarten. After all, this is an aristocratic kindergarten. How could Mr. Lu be willing to let his beloved grandson go to an ordinary kindergarten? As for Zhuo Chen, although he was terrifyingly powerful and had unparalleled background, Zhuo Chen did not even have the 10 Directions heavenly sword in his hand at this time. In fact, Zhuo Chen's original body was divided into two, and the other original body stayed in the prehistoric human world. This might lead to the dispersion of power, making it easier to kill him. He moved his mind and a divine power popped out, and on the TV nearby, the scene of the bombing of Jenny's house that night appeared. Liang, what's wrong with you? Han Bingjuan's face turned pale. She ran to the other side and pulled the chain with her hand, but found that it didn't move at all. However, although these theories were not very new to him, he was indeed interested in hearing them. Seeing the gangster's dirty hands getting closer and closer, she yelled and threw all the property in her bag into the grass in the distance. Sure enough, 2 gangsters couldn't resist the temptation and turned around to pick up her things. Tell me. What do you want to borrow? You're always outside. Seeing Yi Miecheng like this, Yi Lucheng had already vaguely guessed where Yi Qingcheng was going. She glanced at Yi Wucheng and said in an angry voice. Why is Yi Miecheng giving Yi Qingcheng face? If he gave her face, what would Yi Wucheng do? Not only the audience, but even the 4WD fighters burst out laughing. Yi Xiu sat next to Sunan and tried hard to hold back his laughter. He stared at Sunan's scoundrel tactics and couldn't help shaking his head. The nameless flowers and plants turned to ashes, the soil and rocks disintegrated in the air, and the rising black smoke obscured the sky, making the starry sky dim. The more Prince Pingjiang listened, the more restless he became. He could not sit still before the meeting ended and ran back directly. He has been brooding over this matter, but he has been busy for the past month and has not called to inquire. Lan Yuchen had said so much, but he still stubbornly believed that he was right and that he knew the truth of what happened back then, but he never thought about how many families dominated City A at that time. If the Chen family hadn't been wiped out suddenly, how could the battle between them suddenly break out? But this is the path she chose, and she has never regretted it, and has no intention of turning back. The situation was already in chaos, and no one had time to care about Li Sai and Xiao Shan. Li Sai made up his mind to avenge his dead brother, so he took advantage of the chaos to leave. The two masked masters of the first level of the Supreme Realm were stunned when they heard Lao Hei's words. They never expected that a master whose strength was not weaker than that of the third level of the Supreme Realm would be Ling Zimo's subordinate.